All right, in this episode, I'm sitting down with two good friends, Randy Moulton and Justin Alvarez. These guys I've met over the last couple of years. Justin reached out and asked for some help and see if he could shadow me doing some shed hunting and help with scouting, things like that, and took him up on that. And we've been good friends since then. And Randy's been volunteering at Huntstock the last couple of years. He's a tremendous help. Great guy. Both of these guys are adult onset hunters, so they didn't grow up hunting. They started learning just a couple of years ago. And, this year they've had really great success. They hunted a lot together. They became good friends through volunteering at Huntstock, and they've done a bunch of hunts together, traveling to other states. And they've killed 10 deer this year between them with their bows. So these guys, just in the last couple of years, through utilizing, listening to podcasts, networking with the right people, and, coming to Huntstock, learning at Huntstock and things like that, they've been able to, and of course it's really important to get in-field, in-field experience and being able to learn from mistakes you make out there and all that stuff, but they've been able to really shorten their learning curve, become good hunters in a short period of time. So we talk about what some of the things they've done going from last year to this year that contributed to that success and really, contributed to giving them the confidence that now they're starting to figure things out. They're doing things right. So this is a great podcast. Hope you guys all enjoy it. Let's get into the podcast now with Randy Moulton and Justin Alvarez. All right, welcome back to another episode of the Hunt Suburbia podcast. Got two of my buddies here, Randy and Justin. Why don't, like we were just talking before the podcast, why don't you guys talk about how you guys met? I mean, both of you guys are adult onset hunters. We've become friends over the years, partly through Huntstock. But how did you guys meet?
Through Huntstock. Actually just Huntstock. We it was your second year volunteering? Was it your second year
First,
volunteering?
yeah.
Oh, it was both of our first
Yep.
years. Okay. So it was Huntstock year 2. Yeah, it was Huntstock year 2, technically.
Yep.
Out in Westminster. Both Randy and I were volunteering. Had never met before. Running around, the farms, it's crazy. Those few days leading up to the event, we're all running around doing a million different random tasks and stuff. And I think the first thing first interaction we had was I asked you to move your truck
Right.
because it was in the way.
We ended up
And I was
shooting
like,
together,
who's
though,
this-
right?
Did he ask you like an asshole though? Be honest.
I was a little annoyed. I was like, who the hell is this asshole just parking wherever the hell he wants?
I kept driving around in my truck, parking wherever I wanted.
Yep.
Well, during setup, though, not during the event.
Well, when you got a big ass truck like that, you kind of,
Hey,
Yep.
we were loading it up, driving it around.
Yep, utility.
That's the fun part. That's really the biggest way I volunteered was set up and tear down. But
Yeah.
we shot 3D together too, right? That
Yeah.
was when we really kind of like connected. And
Yeah.
we hung out for the rest of the weekend because
It just clicked. You
Yeah.
need to meet people, especially as adults. I feel like when you meet friends as adults, it's different. Like,
it was my first year coming in. I think it was your first year coming in. So we had we didn't really know. I mean, I knew you guys, but like not like that. So it was good to just connect with someone.
And you first met Pat Burns at the gym,
Right.
right?
Dude comes up to me. He's like, "I like your tattoo. I like your shirt. Do you hunt?" I was like, "Yes, I do." And like, I was kind of taken back, but yeah, he was awesome. He's like, "You got to come to Huntstock." He's like,
Pat
"You
would
got
do
to
that.
the Air Force
Yeah.
thing, the Air Force shoot," and like very wicked outgoing. But if it
Yeah.
wasn't for him, I would never been.
Yeah, he hit me up right away. He's like, dude, this guy Randy at my gym, he's the man. He's all gung ho. Like, we got to get him involved in Huntstock. He wants to come and he's all about it. Wants to volunteer. I'm like, sweet, dude.
Yeah,
Yeah, Pat's such a great networker. He's
He really is.
so
Yeah.
outgoing.
And
Yeah.
especially at the gym, because like I'm not an approachable dude. Like you're sizing up people at the gym. You're like like you don't mean to, but it's just like
Yeah.
I'm not there to talk. All business, headphones in.
Yeah.
He's just like, "What's up? I like your tattoo."
Have you ever spotted Pat, or has he spotted you at
Oh,
the
yeah.
gym?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's good.
Oh, he'll come up to me like mid run on the treadmill and say, like, "Yeah, he's a good dude.
He's the
Very
best.
outgoing."
Yeah, like some of the best people that I have met that are friends now, like you guys, it's just been through random hunting. Like, and I think Justin, you reached out to me at one point. I forget what you said, but you were like, "I am a new hunter. was super big into fishing.
Yeah.
I take it really seriously. Anytime I get into something, I want to take it super seriously.
Crackhead mode. Yeah.
You're like,
Yeah,
can
for
I
real.
come out with you sometime? And we like, it's kind of like blind dates when you meet people like that
Yeah.
sometimes.
Yeah. You don't
But
know.
it turns out freaking, and
It
they
worked.
can be great friendships.
Right.
That's my buddy Chris Rice. When I first moved out here, I made a post on, Bow Site, a forum that I'm on all the time.
Mhm.
You guys ever been on that, by the
Yeah.
way?
Yeah. Yeah.
It's a great place for knowledge.
Yep.
And a bunch of good guys on there. But I was on Bow Site, and I posted on there. I was like, hey, anybody I didn't have a pickup truck at that point. Anyone got a pickup truck that I could, borrow for a day or something? I was thinking of going to rent one at U-Haul, but I got to get a load of firewood.
Mm-hmm.
And this kid reached out. He's like, yeah, you can use mine if you want. I had already gone and rented one at Home Depot by the time he reached out. He's like, yeah, I live in this bordering town, pretty close. Sure. And even though I didn't borrow the truck that day, then we kept in touch. He's like, hey, when you want to hunt together? So the first time I actually met him was at like 4:30 a.m.
Just the
Drop a
willingness
pin
to let you
with
use
weapons
the
in
strap.
our hands.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it was cool. And I killed my first bow buck that day when he was hunting with me.
Very
the day
nice.
I met him, we tackled a piece of woods together.
Yep.
And that was my first bow buck in 2019. So it's just, reach out to people. If you're a new hunter listening to this, don't be afraid to like just, it might seem like it's awkward. Like, hey,
it is awkward. It's super awkward. Like, you can't say it's not. I mean, I sent you, like, I look back at it now, like I sent you like a 1-pager, like a super long DM. Like,
it's awkward till it's not though. Like, like this fellowship and camaraderie is really what hunting is about. I lost it or never really learned it until like this year. Him and I started hunting a lot together. Up until then, I was like, I'd rather be in the woods by myself. Very like solitude, isolate, like.
Which is totally fine. There's plenty of times where he'd hit me up and like we try to plan something. It's like, forget it. Don't worry, it's not going to work out today. Or I'm going to do my own thing today.
Yeah,
or I'm
we're not hunting
focused
every
on
day
this
together,
today.
but like.
There's plenty of times where we get
it's fun.
A buddy system hunt together.
Someone to take pictures, help you drag, and.
But I think that's the biggest takeaway, at least, is like Huntstock is that place that you can do that. Like, you can meet a lot of like-minded people, and for me, it was my first year. This is only my second year.
Yeah.
This year hunting, so like it was
Which
important.
Is wild, because like if you hadn't said that and you talked like at the end of this podcast, you're gonna be like, people are gonna hear it and be like, I can't believe he's only been hunting 2 years. I mean, I've only been hunting 6 years, but like the consumption of just knowledge, like you wouldn't know that. Like the layman wouldn't know.
It's exactly what you said in that DM to me too. Though, like if I decide to jump into something, I'm all in on that.
Yeah.
And you have been, and you've shortened your learning curve like tremendously. So that's part of what we want to talk about on the podcast too, is like, so you're in your second year hunting, you've been hunting 6 years, you've killed 7 deer this year, and you've killed 3 deer this year.
Mm-hmm.
You guys are hunting together all the time. You take it seriously, you're being successful. And it's just awesome. I love that Huntstock can bring that out. I love that the podcast can help people get to that stage and stuff. Like it makes me feel really good, to see success from guys who are just getting into it. And
it's all God, man.
Yeah.
It's nothing I'm doing.
Well, why don't you guys talk a little bit about like, so, not that it's like a Huntstock infomercial, but for the people out there that are listening, that are getting into hunting, or you're new, or you want to shorten your learning curve, and you're like, Huntstock's the place to be. It's almost like volunteering too, though. Like, get into the volunteer.
Yeah.
It seems like the volunteer group, we're all super tight year after year.
Yeah.
You know, and we stay close together. You kind of get some more access at Huntstock behind the scenes.
Right.
And
that's big.
And I don't know. I just feel like that's such a good opportunity.
Yeah, I'm a chatterbox, so like that. That first year, like that's kind of what I did. Other than the setup and the tear down,
I mean, people ask me why I volunteer, because it's like we're not getting paid. We're not like it is volunteer. I'm like,
it's a lot of work.
It's camaraderie.
Yep.
It's friendships. It's like you meet like-minded people. Because like just because another person's a hunter doesn't mean they're like-minded. Like there can be 2 hunters, and like that hunter might not do it the way that I feel is that ethical, or whatever. So like you have that ability to meet truly like-minded people.
Yeah. That's how I think we kicked off really well. Is like we were very transparent with each other. Like we're just like, I'm new. He's like, shit. Well, I've only been hunting this many years. Like, oh, that's cool. Okay, a lot of you meet some guys. I've been hunting since I was 7 or something. It's like, oh shit,
nothing,
okay,
nothing to prove. Like, you know what I mean? It's just
Yeah.
like willingness to learn's always there. It's like,
right.
what do you think about this? What do you think about that?
Yeah.
Like,
We just had very like transparent conversations about like where we were at, what we were good at, what we sucked at, what we were working on, and like sharing ideas. And I was like, oh, okay, I can shoot the shit with this guy and like, learn from each other. And like, and then we exchanged. It was just like, hey, let's keep in touch after hunt stock, and maybe we could get like a hunt together or something this year. That'd be kind of cool. Let's try that out, which we did, and kind of same thing, like
so like
4 a.m. in the dark.
Back it up a little. Like, honestly, leaving hunt stock the first year, I was like, I mean, he was a cool dude, but like, you don't anticipate maintaining any kind of friendship. Like, I mean, we're adults, we got kids, wives, families, like work.
Yeah. Life.
We went to Fall Fest at
Wildwood.
that they hosted, and we brought our families. And then when our wives met and the kids met, it's like kind of connects the dots a little bit further. And it was great.
Yeah, I know. Like we're even talking maybe going to Aruba. So you planted that bug into my wife's ear, you and your wife.
Yeah.
And we went to Aruba. We liked it.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, it's awesome. It's awesome to be able to meet like-minded people. And then I don't know. It's also just like it's a lot of work, but it's fun too. And at the end of the day, we look back at. I remember. I don't think it was last year, maybe 2 years ago, where I was just like, we had that lunch or dinner. After we closed up the trailer, and it was just so many laughs because you're in this delirious mode. It was like, all right, that was a lot of work.
Yeah, when we went to the 99 that first time.
Yeah,
I was like,
I missed that
spent.
one. I missed that one. Yeah.
But then every year after, it gets easier.
Yeah,
like we don't have that brain fog. It seems like this last year was a little bit.
This year was cool too because we all stayed together in New York.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
like because we're all out there camping or wherever you're staying.
The New York one was fun.
Yeah, it was.
For that reason alone. It forces more camaraderie and
Yeah.
So you get those behind the scene laughter, but the behind the scenes factor is important. Like I said, like being Chatterbox, like I met a lot of people. Like most of the vendors, I talked up to vendors for a long time about all kinds of the Vortex guys, the 6 Hour guy, like all those guys I've talked to a lot, just learning shit from them. It's great.
And like not even just like Hunt Stock weekend, like you guys came and helped out at Great American Outdoor Show, which was a fun trip.
That was awesome,
dude. That place.
I'm looking forward to that maybe again.
And then the other day, you guys were like, "Hey, are we doing this again?" And I like that you guys are thinking about and hitting me up too, like, "Hey, are we gonna do this?" Because that's
literally all we were talking about is like, what's next? After like once the season's wrapped up,
that's
we're already
like it keeps you plugged in.
Let's fast forward to Hunt Stock.
Because I was thinking like, man, I don't know if we're gonna do as many shows and stuff this year, but I feel like we got to go back. The Great American Outdoor Show was fun.
It's name recognition too. It's like you hear about it once, that's cool, but if you hear about it year after year, it's like, oh, maybe I do check this out. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm excited to see what New York looks like. Circling back to New York for volunteers this coming year, because like there was at least a dozen, maybe if not 10 people that were like, I can't wait to volunteer. I want to be a part of this. Like
we were very short volunteers in New York. That was much harder than.
I forgot about that. You're right. We met. And again,
there was a lot. I think we have. I'm friends with a lot of dudes on Facebook now from them.
Right. Yeah. There's a core group of people, like you said. I think we're all tight, and people see that like infectious, like, oh, I want to be a part of this. There's like a buzz behind this. There's
and
like
they love it too. It's like we're the archery side of things.
Yeah, I know that guy that was like camping. That was super outgoing.
Damon.
Yeah, he's like he's all about being a volunteer.
Damon?
Yeah, he hits.
Sorry, dude,
hit
if
me
you
up.
listen to this.
I think it's Damon. I'm pretty sure. Yeah.
Damien.
Same
I don't
thing.
know.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah, I forget. But you're cool, dude.
He left his bow case everywhere. Put your bow case in your truck.
He was like the first person to buy a campsite, and then they just had a blast camping too.
Yeah.
But we're gonna get into some deer hunting stuff and a lot of strategy stuff, I promise. But what we got to talk about last year at Great American Outdoor Show, where we were staying first.
Oh my god!
Because that's probably where we're gonna stay.
I got a video we could kind of insert here,
dude. We do have the video clip.
Oh man,
it's
dude.
bad.
I have a past life that's kind of sketchy. You know.
Yeah.
I've never.
It was
come
bad.
close to seeing a hotel that bad. I don't even know if you can call it.
I'm pretty sure it was a crime scene.
What was it again? La Quinta?
I don't know, dude.
Whatever it was, it sounded like
it sounded all right.
A recognizable name that I had heard that was like a big chain. I was like, all right, this should be good.
Wasn't it like was it a Days Inn or was it a Ramada or was it?
I want to say Days Inn.
It might be Days Inn.
Yeah, I want to say Days Inn.
I've stayed in nice Days Inn before.
Don't go to Days Inn in Harrisburg.
Yeah, Harrisburg. Holy shit.
You know what's wild is that I in passing someone asked me, "Oh, you're going?"
I just
where are you
passed it
staying?
2 weeks ago.
And I said the
On my
days
way
in,
up.
they were like, no. Dude, I was like, what do you mean no? They were like, just look it up. Remember we were reading the reviews?
Yeah. Oh, terrible.
Dude.
We stayed in Harrisburg last week on my way down to North Carolina, and we passed it. I was like, we almost stayed there, and everybody in the truck looks at me. I was like, we didn't.
And there's like rogue pit bulls wandering the parking lots inside. Like my mirror was just smashed.
Anything you can think of a
there was
sketchy
blood.
like
there
hour.
was literally blood in every room.
Bodily fluids, blood.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was bad.
It was so bad. And had we worked that day yet or no? Was that the night
No,
before?
first night.
Yeah, and we were just like,
We did a little bit, maybe. Yeah.
Yeah. Anyways, but we went to this bougie restaurant for a steak dinner, and we're like, I think we
Yeah.
gotta hit the Walmart for some like extra sheets. I'm not like crawling in that bed
Yeah.
and passing.
Bringing home
this
bed
can't
bugs.
happen. Let's not do
yeah.
this.
While we were at dinner, we're like, well, let's get a freaking Airbnb, dude. Whatever.
Airbnb was clutch.
What a great
bro. It was
choice.
so
And it was
nice.
it was an awesome Airbnb.
It was so
We had
nice.
so much more fun.
Yeah.
There.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So those
That's
are
how-
the perks of volunteerism
Yeah.
with
Days
Huntstock.
in.
I mean, it was a great makes for a great story when you
Oh,
look back on it now.
100,
It's just
dude.
like,
The bed bugs that we would have gotten might not have been a great story, but we avoided that.
and then who's the one that goes in and tries to get her money back?
Oh,
yeah,
dude.
It's got to be Pat Burns.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
it has to be.
Pat's in his element there. He's
But he
like,
did,
"Nah,
right?
bro." Yeah, I actually don't know if when Pat came out, he was like, so you were fronted one room. We said the other one, something was going on with it, but we would see it in like 7 days. I don't think we ever did. But I just, that's
That's the type of place you
part
get
of
by
running
the
a show
hour,
like
too.
this. And when you go and do other shows, the expenses just rack up.
Oh
And
yeah.
it's like,
I'm sure.
it's what makes it so hard to actually become a profitable like business where you can make a living.
Mm-hmm.
Like I make a living right now, but I'm making a living as if I was in college still, you
Yeah.
know?
I heard you talking about this with Tom Miranda on one of your recent ones that you dropped. Is like might not be the first 3, 4, 5 years, but like long term, long goals.
You
like,
got to think long term. But you can only do that if you have the right situation.
You're gonna
Like,
survive the first 3,
if I was
4, 5
single,
years.
like it would be really hard to be living right now.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if and
Any
if I-
business is like that.
Yeah.
My business, you survive. They say if you survive the first 3 to 4 years, you're established enough to like. Then you start digging in.
yep.
Well,
So we'll at dinner tonight. We're gonna go to a nice dinner. I always take these guys to nice dinners. So
Looking
even though
forward
these
to it.
volunteers don't get paid, you know,
there's perks.
I see-
hundreds of dollars in dinners.
There's
hotel-
plenty of
There's
perks.
definitely perks.
Absolutely.
Well, yeah, just touching on it real quick. Like the volunteering, it's hard work, and yes, it's volunteering. You don't get paid. Although in New York, I think I threw you guys
you did.
some money too.
Couple
You
$100
did. I
bucks.
didn't want to take it, man.
Yep,
I put it all right back into that raffle for that.
because that was like
that
everybody was
tent.
shortchanged.
That novelty shoot got all my money, but
Yeah, but you get. You guys mostly volunteer every day anyway. But if you want to just volunteer one day, you can go to Huntstock for free the next 2 days. You get a volunteer shirt. We take care of like the snacks and waters. You get extra door prizes. I mean, you guys have all won door prizes
oh yeah.
Mhm.
to the point where in New York, like I got a bet. We volunteers were winning a lot of door prizes,
Yeah.
and I got the sense that some people were like, "Oh,
Rigged.
this is rigged for it's
Dude, I
not
won
rigged."
2 grills and a shotgun my first year.
Yeah.
I'll say
But
this
the
to
grills you got because
There
you
was a
paid
novelty
the
shot,
novelty
yeah,
shoot.
to people listening, if you're halfway decent with your bow,
do the novelty
do the
shoot.
novelty shoot.
Right.
Yeah, you can win high ticket
High
stuff.
dollar items, and
Yeah.
you just gotta hit foam. Foam is home, and you got a shot at some really awesome gifts, and that's what
Yeah,
me
and
and
that
Randy
was the
spent
big
a
thing
lot of
about
time
New York.
on.
Everybody's like, "Oh, do I use your bow? I didn't bring my bow." So yes, bring your bow to the shows.
Yes,
There's 3D archery. There's novelty shoots. It's a blast.
a lot of fun.
All right, let's get into the deer season.
Yeah.
All right, because you guys, where did it start? I feel like the beginning of the deer season, you guys hunted together too, didn't
Yeah.
you?
So I spent a lot of time in Rhode Island. I was born and raised in Rhode Island, so I have a lot of comfort down there. What's awesome about Rhode Island, if people don't know, is it starts like over a month earlier than Massachusetts. So it's September 15th. It's basically same as New Hampshire opener.
Right.
And then it also ends super late. So it runs to January 31st.
Not the same as New Hampshire.
Yeah,
They're already
Which is
closed.
so bananas. You got time on the front end and on the back end,
Yeah.
extra time in the stand.
We should try to do a Rhode Island hunt in January.
Please.
Yeah.
I was
Come
just
with
saying
us.
before we
Yeah.
started, dude. Get your proficiency card. It's super easy. You just got to hit foam.
Whoa! Don't give away all our secrets.
Well, I'm just saying.
It's wicked hard, dude.
It's wicked hard. Actually, yeah, it's really hard. But anyways, no. So I spent a lot of time down there, and I have a bunch of pins and a bunch of time down there already. So I was like, cool, dude. I was like, let's get together. Let's hit some space. So some places
And again,
together.
like I'm not like, come archery season, I go like, and like I tried to make a change mentally at the beginning of this year. Like I'm gonna hunt less because last year I spent like 500 hours in the woods, like way too much time.
Really?
Ridiculous.
But this year I
Probably
was like, I'm
what
gonna
I did this year. I don't even know.
right.
Yeah.
But I was like, I'm gonna hunt less, enjoy it more. Like I had a great season last year too, but
hunt
like,
efficient this year.
yeah, more efficient. Like hunt weather, hunt cold fronts, hunt all that kind of stuff. But Justin's like, hey, let's go to Rhode Island. It's like 85 degrees. I was like, eh. He's like, come on, I want you to meet my brother. He's got a really good restaurant, blah, blah, blah. So we go down, eat, meet his brother. It was awesome.
Best meal ever.
Yeah, like,
I know. I still got to do that.
like 5-star, like amazing.
We're about to go in the woods, and
Yeah.
we're eating like scallops.
We're in like
and like all kinds of shit.
Base layers sitting in this. We're the only ones. He opened the restaurant for
Yeah,
our lunch.
he's prepping. We're just in there just shooting the shit with
That's
them, eating
sick.
delicious food.
Yeah.
So, and like no expectations though. No expectations. Yeah, if we see a doe, let's each get a doe, blah, blah, blah.
Yep.
So, I don't know where we want to go from here. You want to,
Yeah, it was early season. It's Rhode Island public. Won't give any more details on that.
randomly
But
picked a piece. We both went in
no
blinds.
history there at all. At all. We were like, this just looks good. It looks money. And we were strategic about our entrance.
Yeah.
But we weren't like nothing really crazy. I mean, we weren't set up super far from each other. We were.
No,
I think we
could
were
see
visually
each
see
other,
each
80
other.
yards, 100 yards.
It's fun to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But like
Both
it
saddle
was,
hunting.
it was so thick, so we had confidence in the spot.
You guys were like 10 feet away.
Right. I mean,
Here, hold my bow.
yeah. So we're both saddle hunting, and like the sign is just crazy because like
Yeah.
the deer numbers are pretty high. So we each pick a spot, and like we were 100 yards apart, and like I saw it was like 3:30. I saw some fawns. I was like, oh deer, and like Justin was struggling with this platform. I'm like, dude, stop!
I don't want to
move."
talk about the platform. I don't want to talk about the platform.
We won't. We won't. So like the fawns work off. We like neither one of us get a shot. Like, cause I literally would have shot. Like I had no expectations.
Right.
An hour and a half go by. Not even an hour goes
yeah.
by.
Right.
And I'm like, deer, and like we're texting. That's the crazy part. Like the amount of texts that we send each other while we're hunting like this. So
Usually stupid shit.
Randy,
Yeah.
did you just piss?
Yeah,
Yeah.
stupid shit.
I'm hungry. You think we should eat our snacks?
Yeah.
Snack time yet?
Yeah.
We I see a doe. It's the two fawns I thought, but then I saw the mature doe. So and like it was a poke, but I had a good lanes, ranged. I drew back on her, settled.
Let me say this real quick. Pause your thought. Randy's a ridiculous shot.
Yeah.
Stupid.
Yeah, if you can't tell by him winning 2 grills at the
Novelty
novelty
shoot.
It's
shoot.
what I love though.
Yeah,
like
you're a
it's
shooter.
He's an archer
what I
first.
love.
Yeah.
100%. It's so stupid. So like when he says it's a poke, to 90% of bow hunters, it's a poke. To Randy, it's like
Yeah.
another day.
Yeah.
So
I'm
like,
no like Levi Morgan, but like I
super
enjoy
confident.
archery.
Yeah.
Like it's really, but I mean maybe that backfires one day. We'll see. So
Until
anyways,
then.
I settle on this doe. Shot breaks. It hits her, but when it hits her, she wheels and just barrels out. So I was like, I'm pretty sure that was a good shot. Like,
I'll say from my perspective, just how fucking cool it was, by the way. Like, he messaged me real quick, which he doesn't do a lot of
Could you watch him
texting.
draw?
Yeah, that's the thing. So, right? So, like, that's what's so exciting for me is like, he's just like, deer.
Yeah.
And then I'm getting nothing
yeah,
else.
Justin will send 10 texts to my one. Like, I
Yeah,
can't.
yeah.
My fat fingers, like, I'm like,
Yeah.
ultra
So I'm
focused.
watching and I'm like, I don't see what he's talking about. I'm like, I can't see the deer. It's behind a lot of thick cover. And then I just see his elbow go back and I was like, ooh, shit. Full draw. Let's go. And then I just heard the release and the wet. Go ahead. Sorry.
So, crack. Smacks this doe. She takes off. Everything's thick. Like, just barrels off. I was like, oh, man, this is going to be, like, crazy to find this thing. So, he's texting me. He's like, hey, and this shows you a lot about his character. He's like, hey, you know what? Instead of, like, trying, because I wanted to hunt till dark so he would get one. He's like, no, I think we need the daylight to kind of find her. It's thick. We don't know where we're at, yada, yada.
Yeah.
So I'm like, all right, let's wait 20 minutes. Just give her the 20 minutes, 30 minutes, see if one comes in. And we were far enough away to where either they were going to come my way or they were going to go his way. Like, it wasn't like we're shooting the same deer. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
different runs.
I'm there, bow's hung up. I'm still like jacked up over this doe. First deer of the year, you know what I mean? So all of a sudden the deer comes by. I'm like, oh, cool, another deer. Maybe, oh, wait, that thing's got a rack. Like, I had to process all this. I was like, I got a buck tag too. And like,
you just sent the text to me, said buck,
and just put my phone away. I had the camera on the tree and stuff, but like, I'm horrible. Like, it just.
Oh, you were self-filming too?
Yeah, I've been trying to self-film, and it's like I'm carrying the super camera everywhere. Like, I got the Tacticam on my bow. None of it ever gets
None of it's
on,
activated.
ever.
so funny.
Got a drone following me.
Like, you hear the shot and everything. Like, I turn it on, like, but it's like, what? Yeah.
Trees.
Anyways, so it's a buck. I confirmed that I had a rack. I hadn't, like, judged it because I'm not there, like, to where I'm only shooting big bucks or whatever. So, like, this deer comes in. And again, same run, so it's still kind of a poke, but he goes over and he starts making a rub. So I'm able to knock an arrow. I range him, come back to full draw. I'm settled. Shot breaks, smacked him. I was like, cool. And like, at this point, he could see him better than I could. Like,
Do you see him draw on that one too?
I saw him draw on that one too.
That's awesome.
So like, it's not my deer, but I'm jacked up too. I'm in the stand, like,
of course.
Shit.
So then fast forward, like, we break down. I shoot like single bevel, iron wills, no blood for either one.
And you were confident. I remember the first thing you said to me was like, that buck. I was like, you said it confidently. I smoked him. I'm pretty sure it was a heart shot.
Double lung heart shot. Like, I knew both shots. I watched the arrow, and I got rid of lighted knocks, so it's like, but I still followed the arrow through. Like, anyways, I don't know how detailed we want to go, but like, it took us a long time. So like, we found the arrows read true, like, confirmed, like, great hit. We called the dog just to be like, to try to get some help.
It's thick in there.
They weren't available. So we're like, all right, let's do it. So we start grid searching for the buck first, of course.
Because you didn't find a speck of blood.
Dude,
like,
it was stupid.
It was crazy. It's that thick though.
Yeah.
It's like,
it's Greenbriers up to like your chin.
Yeah.
Oh, I hate that.
Yeah. And it's
Deer
like,
love it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And like, you literally have to like crawl.
Yeah, we crawled our way into this place, like,
So,
on our
like,
hands and knees.
That's where you need a machete. I got a machete in my truck.
Yeah.
Seriously, have a
would've been clutch.
machete in your tool belt. It's awesome
So
for Greenbriers.
Yeah.
we're like, all right. So we look for like 45 minutes. And we're like, all right, let's get all the stuff to the truck. We'll get some better lights. We'll get the sled, like, and then we'll regroup, kind of get composed. I was like, I'm going to loop this way. You loop that way. I no sooner looped that way and walked up on them. And like, there's a video we posted on my social media. That's like my celebration for the buck. Cause that's like my first big racked deer.
Right.
Yeah.
Huge. Nice.
So then we're like pumped, take care of him, get him to the truck. Look for the doe. Can't find her at all.
And it's getting dark at this point. It's like dark, pretty much.
So then we go get some water. So we were dying of thirst. Like I said, it was warm that day. Got him on ice. Went back and we're like, we can't come back here in the morning. It's far enough away, so it's like that much of an inconvenience. So we're like, let's just go give her the respect she deserves. Like,
Let's just call your brother, go have a nice dinner.
Right? Yeah. Well, yeah. We talked about that. If we hadn't shot anything, we're like, go back there for dinner.
100%.
I smelled like clams when the deer came through. But
That's nothing new. You always smell like
yeah,
clams.
exactly. So anyway, we went back in, and dude, Justin was like a bloodhound, like speck here. I'm like, dude, how could you not see this in the daylight, but you can see it in the dark? Like,
Tiniest specks.
It
So-
is crazy.
she was running so fast, and the blood trail didn't open up for like, I think it was total of 80 some odd yards, and like we were both standing there like, I don't know, like looked down, and her eyeballs lit up, and I'm like, yes.
Yep.
Yeah.
So we got both. Brought him up to Doug, and he's like, dude, you shot both these things?
They're like, yeah, like 30 minutes apart, not even.
And only if he had known like how many more we were gonna bring him this year.
You get 10 deer between you guys. Have you brought them all to Doug?
Oh, yeah.
I broke one down myself. I like to do 1 or 2 a year.
Yeah.
It depends on temperature and stuff too, but my wife and my kids all get involved, and they like
I mean,
it.
he's got quite the operation up there.
Doug is the
I'm
man.
so happy for him. Shout out to Doug at Cutting Barn. He is amazing.
He's awesome.
Really
man.
good dude.
Yeah.
He's getting a lot of love too.
I
love
It's
that for
pretty
him.
awesome. I think moving over to Mason on 31 there, it's the best thing he ever did. Like it's
Better
a
location.
legit operation.
Yeah. It's
Not that it wasn't
clean,
before,
It's clean. It's
but-
nice. He has so much more space. A lot more people that he has now working for him. Like,
And it's like 20 minutes from my house. So
Did you guys watch any of his in the first year as a hunt stock? Watch his demonstration.
Oh, yeah.
There? Yeah.
oh yeah.
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 I mean, it's awesome that he does that, and
Yep.
it's definitely a highlight.
It's always a big crowd.
Always a big crowd.
Always a big
And think
crowd.
about it. That's 10 deer that he cut up too.
I always wondered how he got the deer, but I realized they worked with the EPOs too. They get them from
Yeah, they get it from a farm
Yeah.
where
Yeah.
it's
It's
they
pretty cool.
raise deer and they will kill one that morning, so it's fresh and they bring it right to hunt stock and do
Yep.
it.
That's
Yeah.
awesome. They do the field dress and everything, which is
Yeah, we were,
And then you eat it after.
because like as a new
It's
hunter,
freaking sick.
circling back to like a new hunter, like
Yep.
my first time killing a deer a few years back, it's like my buddy helped me, but he's like, "No, I gotta go to church. Like you're on your own." I'm like, "What do you mean I'm on my own? This is the part I need help with." Just field dress the thing with like my fingers pretty much, like ripping stuff out of there.
Yeah.
That was like just when you got the spike horn with me.
Yeah. Yeah.
Did I send you the video of him field dressing one, his muzzleloader one?
I don't think so. I got to see that.
It's gold.
But had you field dressed anything? That wasn't your first deer? It
Wasn't my
your
first
second-
deer. It was my
first
third.
buck,
It was
third
my
deer.
third deer.
And
It's a learning process.
Did
It
I
is a
start
learning
it for you,
process,
or did
but-
you do all of it? I can't remember.
No, I
but
did
was
it all.
Like, I was like, you're on.
I did it all. I'm
This is
pretty sure.
yours, and I'm going to guide you a little bit.
Yeah,
but
yeah. It was
you
good.
gotta
It was
learn how to-
helpful.
yeah.
Yeah.
You just got to get in there and learn.
Yeah.
And that's there's always something to learn. Like so now, like
And
I feel
there's a
like-
million different ways to gut
Right.
a deer. Some people like
Yeah,
I
yeah.
would go to Anacostia. Those guys up there who are guides do it a completely different
some
way.
people don't even do it.
and they're so friggin' fast and efficient.
Yeah.
And
It's amazing.
they just everybody's got different ways to do it.
And that's what I was gonna say. I was like, so I feel like I'm really confident the way I can get a deer, but now I want to learn how to pack one out, break it down in the field, like using the
Yeah.
cape as the tarp and all
Yeah.
of that. Like
Yeah, that would be really helpful.
I really want to learn how to cape a face and skull plate in the woods, because like I hunt PA, and you can't bring them to Connecticut if
Right.
they're not
Yeah.
caped and stuff. So
Yep. Yeah.
I was thinking when you were talking about that buck making a rub and early season, you get time to range. It's so nice early season
I love
when,
it.
when they're just taking their time.
Mhm.
he
You're
never
not
heard
worried
the shot
about
break.
does. You have all the time in the world to strategize. Where the shooting lane's going to open up, and you get to range. You have so much time. It's so
Mhm.
nice.
Mhm.
Like I feel like I haven't had time on any deer.
Every shot
this
I've ever
year
messed up,
since
it's that
October.
feeling you get. It's like, oh, he's gonna this is the time. This is the
Yeah.
time. Like it's gonna slip away from you. But like when they're just when they don't even know you're there, and you get like
I feel like you
to
were holding for a little while too.
execute the
And
whole
again,
process.
I'm outside looking in, right? I'm like 80 something yards away, just watching him come to full draw, and I was like, I'm waiting,
It just
and I'm
goes to show
waiting,
you-
and I'm waiting, and I'm like, what's going on? Like, why is he holding so long? Which, in actuality, was probably like 17 seconds.
second
you know what
day
I mean?
of the season.
Yeah.
I've tagged 2 deer. What my best buck ever. So to start this year with like no weight on my shoulders was pretty dang easy. Because you and I brought that deer and your bear down to Connecticut at that point.
Yep. To Northeast taxidermy.
And like the season could have ended and I'd been happy, but I'm
Mhm.
glad it didn't because here I am.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But
What else happened?
so what was the next one? So that was early September. Then
And then you got your mass bucks.
was my
Well, why don't we talk a little bit about, because the stories are great, but then we'll fill this whole thing up with stories. But
Mm-hmm.
what do you think went from last year to this year that made you more successful? What were things that you did and tactics and things that where things started clicking this year? Both of you guys,
Mm-hmm.
what are some of the things that you did differently this year as you're evolving in your hunting career?
So like I was like I said, I was always hunting a lot of hours in the woods, and like I still think that's one of the keys to success is like you got to be in the woods a lot. But paying attention, I paid attention more to like when and where. I switched it up a lot, and off season, like Justin is the same, but I like most of us, I don't stop. Like I look at the area, I'm prepping something, I'm walking in the winter. Like when deer season's over, like that's when the work begins, and like that. So like I have permission and some pretty good permission, and I really am starting to learn it, and that helped this year.
Mm-hmm.
So I think with prep and with like in-season scouting and like that kind of thing, it all kind of came together.
Yeah. What about you, Justin? You're newer to hunting.
So something I learned my first year. So what is that? That's the 23-24 season. That was my first season. I got 3 deer, 2 doe, and a spike. Thanks to Mr. Hunt Suburbia here for that layup. Appreciate that. I learned a lot, and that was my bow. I learned a lot about my bow. I'm not going to get into all the details, but essentially, very long story short, my bow was not tuned properly. My rest wasn't on right. My sight wasn't on right.
Shout out to Jesse up at Pelletiers.
Shout out to Jesse at Pelletiers, 100%. Awesome bow shop up there, up in, was that Jaffrey?
Yeah.
Yeah, Jaffrey, New Hampshire. Awesome guys out there. They hooked me up in the off season. I spent some money, obviously. I spent a lot of time getting my bow and getting myself back to full confidence with my equipment. Now, yes, I harvested deer that first season, but as you know, there was some stories and tribulations behind each one of those harvests. Each one of those recoveries was a bit of a nightmare for me.
They weren't clean kills.
Not clean. So learned a lot about that. And again, long story short, came to find out I had all these problems with my bow. Fixed those problems in the off season and put a lot of time and obviously
you shot a lot.
And since meeting Randy and understanding, like I was talking about, he's an archer at heart, like spending a lot of time with him.
Total
going
Archer
out,
Challenge.
going to tack
all these
together.
3D events at a hunt stock.
3D hunting events, going out to his rod and gun and like just slinging arrows at distance, like 80 yards, 100 yards, 120 yards, like what the hell?
And
hitting.
You're hitting.
And hitting like decent shots. Like that's crazy. I never thought I would be able to do that. And again, getting that confidence, that was number one. I think that was the biggest thing.
Yeah.
And then just the continual grind of like, conversations I immerse myself in. Like I told you, it's just, I eat, sleep, drink, this type of stuff. So, and my off season doesn't stop. I'm different than Randy in that I love technology. I've told you, I've talked about this. I'm a camera guy. So I got like 30, 40 cameras in the field at all times. I do not take them out of the field. They're in season 365 days a year.
Crazy amount too. It's awesome because every time we're hanging out, he's like, dude, look at this one. Dude, look at this one. Like,
so it's just a lot of analytics, and that's like you said, it's not just consuming the podcast and like reading and watching videos and talking to guys. That's a huge part of it, but it's also I can't be in all these places at once. So my fast track as a new hunter for me and being a technologist at heart is was leveraging cameras, cell cameras, and smothering areas with cell cameras to reaffirm my suspicions on an area. Like I'll e-scout it, I'll get in there, I'll put cameras, and I'll speculate, I think this ridge is this, I think they're doing this, I think this is this. And I'll put the cameras and get that confidence in my woodsmanship and my scouting ability backed up with the cameras and be like, it is like that. I am seeing this.
When I run cameras, I'm like, oh, I got a picture of a deer. Like I'm just collecting pictures. He's like analyticals to where it's like he knows what wins. Like he breaks it down. He uses them as a tool to where I'm like, it's just showing me that there's deer in the woods, which is like.
Yeah, I really try to use the cameras to learn the terrain in that specific patch of woods and what like my Rhode Island spot is my honey hole spot, and I've got that thing so dialed down at this point because I've had cameras in there now for this going on 3 years now. And I feel very confident in what the deer are doing. I'm not surprised when I go there. If I that's part of the separate story. The second buck, him and I strategized one night on the tailgate. We were just shooting the shit. I think we're just like, hey, look at this camera. I'm seeing this, that, and the other. You looked. I was like, I sent him a general pin. I was like, just go in that general ridge somewhere over there. He set up, got his second Rhode Island buck. Like,
right.
It just worked the way we figured it out in like a matter of 10 minutes. You know what I mean?
Because I had to get into the woods, and that's what I did. Like, he's like, I never go over here. I got general knowledge on this. Like, so we chatted about like a vague area because I didn't want to go to like his prime stuff. So,
which was fine
because I'm new to Rhode Island, so he's kind of like taking me under his wing down there.
I don't take ownership of things. That's like one thing I'm very open about.
Wicked passive about. But so I go in there and like I got to go in there and like okay, I think like break it down while I'm in there.
Yeah.
And that's what I did on top of like his historical knowledge, and a deer literally read the script side hilled right in front of me. And yeah, that was my second Rhode Island buck. Not that systematically, that's not how it worked. That was like freaking fifth deer of the year, but yeah.
Yeah.
It's crazy how the differences in just different personalities. Like, I know there's so much that I could do with my cameras more. I could study, bucks are showing, like, let's sort out all the pictures I got in this whole camera by all the bucks, and then by the wind and the weather, and see, 75% of them are here on a northwest wind when the weather's like this. I don't do any of that stuff. I just feel like that would drive me nuts. But my brain's just not built the same way as yours.
My buddy keeps like a log.
And I know a lot of cameras do that for you too. Like they have apps and stuff, and it can just show you the predictability and all that. I haven't got into that yet.
Yeah.
My buddy keeps like a written log on like, I sat this day here on this wind and saw this deer. Like he's done it for years, acorn years, non-acorn years. Like but
that's what's so.
I can't do the homework.
That's what is so nice. It is such an individualized sport.
I love it. Right.
It is so unique to you. How you hunt, how I hunt, how anyone else listening hunts is all going to be. We're all after the same objective, but we're all going to do it very differently.
Right. Yeah. And some guys don't
that's totally
want
cool.
to take it to this level either. Some guys just want to go out to hunt to the hunting camp once a year, and like that's their thing. Like, that's why I love it. That's why you get to meet these people at a place like Huntstock and see. That's what Huntstock really is. It's a big hunting camp.
Yeah, because it's like a shit ton of camps all coming together.
Because you really don't want to like get that personal and like, I hunt over here, tell all like your hunting secrets to everybody.
Yeah.
But like with one or two friends, sure. But hunting camp, you can kind of just chop it up and then go back and do your own thing and talk about it again the next year. So like I look forward to going back this coming year, get my deer measured and talking about these stories all weekend. And it's good. Yeah.
What do you want from your trail cameras? I know what I want. You basically just want to make sure that if a buck walks in front of it, the camera is capturing it, plain and simple, right? And with cell cameras, you want to make sure that after it captures it, it's getting sent to you and it's not getting hung up somewhere, and you don't have to worry about, did you format the SD card the right way, or did you use the right SIM card with the right cellular network, or what did you do that is making this image get caught up? With Moultrie Mobile, you don't have to worry about that. I've been using Moultrie Mobile cell cams for 5 years now. The ones that I bought 5 years ago are still working. They're outdated now, but they're still working. But this year I'm running 20 Moultrie Edge 2 Pro cell cams, and I know when I put that into a tree, it is giving me the confidence that it's working. And there's brands out there where you just don't know, and you don't have the confidence when it's up in a tree, and then you have to talk to customer service, and you have to go through a whole line of troubleshooting items. With the Moultrie mobile cameras, they make it super simple. They have an auto connect feature, which will find the strongest cell signal around from the 4 major networks and automatically connect to that, so you don't have to worry about that. You don't have to install a SIM card. You don't have to bring an SD card and format it. Everything is built into the camera. The technology is all built into it, and that leads to a reliable camera that I can be confident in. And if you guys are looking for the right cell cam, if you already run cell cameras, you run different brands, I recommend getting a couple of these Moultrie Edge 2 Pros or any of the Edge 2 cell cams in that series, and just give them a shot. Run them against the other cameras that you have, and you will you'll be happy with the results. So go check them out. Don't just capture images, gather intelligence with the Moultrie Mobile Edge 2 camera series paired with the super simple and easy to use Moultrie Mobile app. You can learn more at moultrieproducts.com.
Vortex Optics has sponsored the podcast. I have been a user of Vortex my entire bow hunting career. I've used their Diamondback 10x42 binoculars. I've used their laser rangefinder. And when I went out to North Dakota, I used a spotting scope out there, one of their angled spotting scopes to spot game far away. And Vortex is just a great company. I've obviously gotten to know them at Huntstock over the past few years. and they've got great customer service, an awesome warranty program, and really good optics that don't break the bank. So if you guys are in need of any binoculars, scopes, they've got, red dots and other optics for rifles and gun hunting, or, binos, rangefinders, spotting scopes, tripods. You cannot go wrong with Vortex. So visit www.vortexoptics.com. Yeah, and bring some of you're going to have some bucks because you're going to get them measured. They'll go up on the wall there,
It's awesome.
I wish we could mic up everybody at Huntstock. So
Oh,
you
there's
can hear
wild.
all the conversations.
Oh.
Right?
Imagine that.
So many things being
Up until a certain hour.
yeah. So many things being spoken about. Yeah.
It's good times.
But that's the biggest thing is we were chatting about that on the drive up here is like what makes someone a good hunter consistently. I mean, I'm at 6 deer, but 3 the first year, 3 the second year. God knows however many you're at this year. You're at 7 this year. We're destined to probably plug another couple before the season's done, God willing, and knock on wood. So like, but it's just time scouting and time in the off season. Like that's the biggest thing I tell people. Like I meet with homeowner, like private permission pieces. They're like, "Oh, you're really serious about this, huh?" And I'm like, "This is all I do.
My private pieces are like,
This is all I do."
You had a paint company. Do you work? I'm like, I got guys to that.
The off-season scouting is absolutely critical. And like you said, like when
we
the
were talking
season's
about it, we can't wait
to shed hunt,
right.
I can't wait until the season's over.
It's bittersweet though. Like I want to wait.
Yeah.
Because like I love hunting, but then
it's just like a whole new excitement starts.
it's just a different phase of the. Like I've never found a shed. I'm looking forward to it. Like especially like I was talking about like some of the private permission that I have, like casting broader nets, because shed hunting you get into the pieces that like don't allow hunting, and you can just hike with your dog, and like there's no pressure.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, you don't got to worry about the Karens and
Right.
anti-hunters.
To me, it's like an outlet, because like I like real quick circling back, I was an idiot for so many years. Like if I hadn't found hunting rather, like this was given to me by God, like as an outlet to keep me on the straight and narrow. Like,
yeah, you'd be dead or in jail probably.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yep.
It is crazy how great, of an outlet hunting can be for people. And there's probably some wives out there who say it's not so great, but the alternative, it is very similar to Spartan Race, where I worked for so many years too. That became this tight-knit community like Huntstock is too, where you go and you meet people and become lifelong friends, and then you have big group chats and people form teams at Spartan Race and things. And a lot of it were people who had previous addictions that were really bad.
Right.
Yeah.
And the addictions, took over their life, but they found something in Spartan Race.
That outlet.
Yeah, to like a community where everybody was like there and working hard and working out and running long distances and overcoming shit together, and it was like perfect. That type of a thing is perfect for moving that addictive personality over into like
something
a
else.
healthy outlet that can change your whole life.
Yeah, I'm that dude, because like I started running I was like a couple years back, I was like 210. Come January 1 year, I was like, holy crap, I'm 210. Like, so I just started jogging, just started running, and now I'm running marathons. It's like I'm that dude that takes it like to that level.
Yeah, you guys both are that. You both dive
Addictive.
all the way.
Yeah,
in.
right.
Extreme. Yeah. I think to be very successful, you have to have that quality. I think that's probably, I don't even have to, but if I've had to guess, most guys that are probably very, very successful at that, like,
I think you have.
I mean, like industry level.
Yeah.
It's that type of addiction.
But we were also talking about on the way here, success is up to you. Like,
Yeah.
social media doesn't dictate success. We were talking about like social media is like that was the one thing that him and I like were talking about. It's like, we're not doing this for the grip and grins. Like, this is just because we love it. And the pressure that we put on ourselves is worse than like any other pressure. Like, oh, I got 3 last year, I got to get 4 this year. Or I got this one, like we were talking about, like, killed my biggest buck. Oh, who cares? Like, the next day you forget about what you shot and you're already on to the next one. It's like, slow down, enjoy it, reflect. Like,
Yeah. We're our biggest critics. Like everyone else already forgot.
Yeah, no one cares
Like,
where you shoot.
Yeah. You post something and a nice grip and grin, people are like, "Oh, that's awesome, man. Good for you. Congratulations." Like the next
100%.
day,
Right.
no one's like, "Oh, Pat got," or like next week, Pat. No one cares.
It's just for you.
yeah.
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 And,
Like
and
that-
sometimes you don't care either. You're already on to the next one. So it's like
Yeah.
you have to keep yourself in check.
Yeah. That's why, like, this year, I saw a lot of, seeing tons of deer, man. Before the podcast,
So
we were
crazy.
talking about, I was recording a podcast here on Friday night last week, and I was talking with, I don't know if you guys listened to that one, but I was talking with my friend Connor. He works for Quiet Cat, but he kind of lives around this area, and we did a podcast, and I was like, yeah, tomorrow I'm going into this place because my cameras are showing that there's rut activity again. Like there's chasing and following and does with bucks behind them, and there's like, it was 2 weeks of none of that.
Yep.
And then all of a sudden there's chasing and following again. I'm like, dude, this is great. And then I started thinking about it. Yeah, I already know the reason I hunt that area is because there's a huge
Doe group.
in there.
Right.
And that's how I found that place. I found that place shed hunting, and I didn't find any sheds. It didn't look like great woods to me. It's pretty open, and it's like not the kind of stuff I normally hunt. But I found it, shed hunting, snow, saw a lot of tracks. I was like, all right, put a pin in that. And then the next year, I ended up going in there just because my acorns in my other spot were dried up, and I was like, I need to go find some. I was hunting my usual places, even though they didn't have a lot of acorns, for like a week. And I was like, this is stupid.
Right. You get into a pattern to where
I'm
it's
going
like
to waste.
you get comfortable.
Yeah, I was
hunting
like,
what you know.
And you start thinking, like, you're in the season. Like, I don't want to not hunt
Right.
and go scout, but you
Yep.
have to do that.
Yep.
I left that place. I'm like, I'll just go check that place I pinned where I was shed hunting that one time. And I went in there, and there were acorns everywhere and piles of deer shit everywhere. And I was like, all right, this is sweet. And I sat there a bunch, and I started seeing tons of does. And anyway, that's why I ended up going in there. I saw 44 deer in freaking one
I can't
day.
believe that, dude.
Some of those were repeats, but there were 24 different does for sure
Right.
that I counted, and 6 different bucks. So it was
It's wild.
30
Imagine.
different
Yeah,
deer
it's wild.
that day. And
Oh.
anyway, I saw tons of deer this year. I passed over 30 bucks that were in range, and nice 3-year-olds and 2-year-olds, and a ton of small ones too. But when it turned gun season, this is the second year in a row I didn't even release an arrow during bow season. I'm just being so patient, just waiting for the right deer, only because I know I have a lot of time. I built my life around now so that I can hunt
Same.
a lot.
Right.
Yeah.
So I know I had the time, so I'm okay, and I like passing deer. I like it, lets you observe them more. You don't blow up your spot if you shoot the first one that comes in, and I just like that. But gun season came around again, and just like last year, the first day of gun season, when it came around, I brought my muzzleloader out. I shot that big 10-pointer last year in the neck, and I couldn't find him. That was the first day.
Yep.
I went to that same patch of woods this year for first day of gun. Sat in my saddle, and had 2 bucks, single bucks. I didn't see them, but I know they were bucks. It was 20 minutes before legal, and then 10 minutes before legal. I could hear them. And then later, like a week later, I checked some cameras, and I confirmed, those were 2 bucks.
Yep.
By themselves, just strolling. And then at 8 o'clock that day, opening day, up my saddle was freezing cold. A nice 8-pointer, came trotting down on this higher trail that I was overlooking, and I put the scope up on him, and he was nice. Like, he was probably like that right euro there.
Yep.
And I was
Beautiful
like, no,
deer.
I'm gonna let him go. And I'm just being patient again, let him go. And then around 11, I was just cold, and some other cameras were firing. I'm like, all right, I'm gonna get down, and I'm gonna still hunt my way over to where those cameras are firing. There's a bunch of does going by over there. Still hunt my way over there. There's another camera I can check on the way there. I'll do that. And I got over, sat down. I got to the camera, pulled it. I hadn't checked it since October 15th, so it had been soaking there for a while. And it's like, well, let's see. There's 200 videos on there or some shit. It takes a long time to load up into your phone.
Yeah.
And I pulled the card,
And I was like, while this is loading, this is what I've been doing a lot. When I go on my cam checks midday
Yep.
while still hunting, I love doing it. It changes up, gets you out of your stand. You change up like your whole scenario and the way you hunt. It makes the day fun and fresh. And it's on windy days. I like to do that. If it's super windy, get down early and just still hunt and check cameras. So that's what it was like. And I get there and 200 videos is going to take a little bit. All right, let me find a nice piece of cover.
Yeah.
You don't want to stand by your camera.
Yeah.
Because generally your camera is either on a trail or it's on a scrape or it's a destination point for a deer anyway. Don't be right there in the destination point while you're checking your camera. Go off somewhere, 30 or 40 or 50, whatever yards, and get into a little bit of cover.
Yep.
And then load it and sit and relax. And that's what I was doing. I was like, all right, this is the one day I packed like a lunch. I don't ever pack lunches. I just don't eat when I'm in the woods, but it was cold and I knew I was going to be out there all day. So I packed a, lunch. I say lunch. It was candy bars and like a couple giant pieces of Vermont cheddar cheese, And I pull out a piece of cheddar cheese once I get there and the shit's loading in my phone. And I start eating it. I'm like, I've never seen a buck while I'm having lunch,
right?
But I hear it all the time. And literally, dude, that thought left my head and I heard chick, 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 chick. And I look and here comes this buck that was a little bit smaller than the one I passed earlier in the day when I was in my stand.
Yeah,
it's all
but it was just like,
though. Yeah.
I was like, dude, this is great. This is super cool. I've never done this before. I was just having that thought and it happened. This buck was meant for me.
Yep.
So I shot him. And you don't have to chase the giant bucks.
You gotta have that ability though. This is like when I went and got that Rhode Island buck, like he's like a forky, but he read the script, got me going.
Oh, the second one.
This is the buck for me. Yeah, the second one.
Yeah.
Like if you're always chasing these guys, it's like, and some people do, but I'm not there yet.
Yep.
Yeah, and I'm definitely not there yet. I mean, I get jacked up over anything.
Like I like shooting does.
Yeah.
I wish I have this whole thing. I'm not going to get totally into it, but like we've talked about this before. People need to shoot more does. There's too many hunters in the state. Like you saw,
I agree. Dude.
Deer Association.
I saw 24 does, and I haven't shot any of those does yet.
Yeah.
And
that's probably arguably like I know the area you're talking about.
Yeah.
No one else does, obviously, but I'm saying like knowing size in comparison.
It's a lot of work when you get them down. Like the post kill work.
Here's my thought every year. I want to shoot does, but I want to fill my buck tags first because I don't want to shoot a doe and ruin an opportunity on a buck that might be around. And especially in this area where I knew there was rutting activity.
Yeah.
And there were some nice bucks around.
Yeah.
And there's big groups of does coming through.
Yeah.
I'll shoot
does early season, late season.
Yeah. I want to shoot. I want to kill my second buck. And then I'm going to go into this place and try to take out as many, there's 24 does in there. That's too many.
Right.
I need, we can kill 4 or 5 of them. I'll take you guys in there and we can just take out
slay does
5 or 6
and you
of
end
them.
up helping.
I like having a
hunts
lot of them,
in the
but
future.
that's too many.
Yeah, we're supposed to go tomorrow down to my Rhode Island spot and do some doe kills.
For that reason, because then next November it's like
I've been seeing
a little bit harder.
Last year on cam I think it was 16 doe go across my camera that down there. So I know there's at least that many down there, and I know, and you look at what the NDA reports on, right? Like when you have triplets, like a doe having triplets is rare. It's not a common occurrence. But down in that Rhode Island spot, there's at least 3 does that have had triplets in the past year. Like
healthy herd for sure.
So that's a healthy herd. There's plenty of food. There's enough cover. There's everything that they need to sustain.
Most of this area is like it's wild how many deer there is. Like
I
counted 18 flags after I shot the doe last year, in one of my spots. I'm like, holy smokes! And like I had only watched a few of them, and then like you're like, oh, there's something there. There's something like it's.
I mentioned that, like Jake Bennett called me when I was on my way over here, and I was talking to him and telling him about all those does. He was like, yeah, you got to shoot some of those because those does. The fact that there's so many of them, some of them are going to be coming into heat in January too.
Yep.
And it's just going to run your bucks in that area ragged.
Right.
They don't get a
Ragged,
break.
yeah.
They don't get a break.
Yep.
So they're going to be depleted, and it's
Mhm.
going to end up leading to smaller antlers on them in the future because they're depleted and blah blah blah.
They don't
And it's
coexist
all-
well.
That totally makes sense. You
Yep.
know,
Yep.
you don't want to have that many does where those bucks don't get a break. They have a 4-month rut.
And how much food is there? I mean, this year's a crazy acorn year, but
Yeah.
like when there's not, they're fighting
too
for
much
food.
stress.
It's like
Yeah.
there's so much that goes into it, and that's another thing I love about hunting. It's like always learning something. Like
Mhm.
And it is funny too that now that I think about it, in that area, there's no giants bucks.
Yep.
You know, there's a couple of bucks in the high 120s and some in the 130s, but I don't think there's anything in the 140s in there.
Yep.
And there's a lot of bucks.
Yep.
So it all makes sense. You know,
But even
they're
still,
overstressed.
so you said you saw. Let's just say you think about that, right? So 24 doe, $6. What's that ratio? That's still a
Yeah.
3-to-1,
Yeah.
4 to 1,
at least 4-to-1.
Yeah.
Like my Rhode Island spot, 3-to-1, and I'm telling him, I'm like, shit, that's way too many. Like that's
4
not
to 1,
healthy.
But those 6 bucks I saw weren't all the bucks in the area. I'm sure they weren't all the does
Right.
in that patch too.
Oh, same, right?
You know,
But at a minimum, if you do some rough math, like
Yeah.
that's okay. Let's just even say 3
When
to
like
1.
a cell cam take of like one point of view gets a shot of 9 does in a still frame, it's like,
Right.
if this picture can pick up 9 does,
Right.
like it's wild.
Right. In
Like,
that 75-degree field of view, knowing that there's probably a couple more over here, just outside of frame, a
Yeah.
couple more going through in the backside, you know? It's,
have you guys or I guess I know the answer for you, but have you ever done like donated a doe, like hunted? I know Mass is
no,
just
because I would
starting
eat
up
it. The most deer I've ever had in the freezer were 3 at one
Right.
time.
Weird.
I've never killed more than three deer in a year, and I can eat. Our family eats 3 deer, so
Same,
yeah,
same.
I would.
I know we can eat 3, but this year I'm like we're eating a little bit more.
I don't want venison anymore. Eat it.
Yep.
My wife and my in-laws cook a lot with grind meat.
Yeah,
So-
same here.
Mhm.
That buck that I got, I took his back straps and took his
Best steaks and grinds is all we do,
tenderloin.
Yeah.
That was it off of this one, and we grinded the rest of it.
Yep.
And but yeah, I need 2 more deer this year. I know I can get some does late season in this spot for sure.
Mhm.
And I don't need to kill a second buck, but I would
Is
like
it not
I would
late
like to get
season?
a second buck.
What's
You're
late
basically
season?
late season.
It's late season. Late
We're
season
here,
for
bro.
me is
It's
after
like-
my second buck.
yeah.
Yeah.
That's the thing. Yeah, I just make that claim. I mean, again, I'm a new guy, but like it's evident. There's guys that just never shoot does, that never feel a tag, and it's like you saw one, just shoot one
There are some
Even just
places where
one.
you don't need to shoot does for sure. Like it depends on the patch of woods.
for sure. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. No, I'm not saying
Yeah.
everyone needs to, but like more people should. I guess is my point.
Yeah.
I love it.
There
It's-
should be like
it-
a
If I had gone
doe
from
only
like
season like January.
I still
Right.
kind of think that mass should be again, new guy talking here, so don't throw rocks at me, but I still think it should be an earn a buck tag. You shoot a doe, you
In
earn a
certain
buck tag.
zones, I could see that being good. Like
For
zone
like your
10
second
and
buck
11.
tag, I mean. Everyone gets their one,
Yeah.
but if you want to fill your second, shoot a doe first.
yeah.
That's to me, that's true conservation.
I've had this conversation a bunch of times with like so my good friend Dennis and I like like earn a buck, second buck maybe even go to, but Mass doesn't necessarily manage
Yeah.
for the hunter. They're
Right.
managing for
It's not QDMA,
Yeah,
like
right.
true QDMA.
PA does an excellent job at managing for the hunter.
It's a lot of rules, but because of that,
Yeah, right. I mean, but like their APRs and stuff, like if we had APRs, like that would be, I think, beneficial for us.
Yeah. Whenever we start talking about new rules, I always think like, look at Massachusetts versus all the other northeastern states.
Mhm.
We have the best situation out of all of them. We have the best mature buck population out of every state. I think it's 35 to 40% of our deer that are shot are 4 years or older.
Right.
And it's way more than any other state. So we've got a great mature buck population. So
For now.
right now, yeah.
For
And
now,
it could
though.
definitely,
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
things always change.
Yeah.
Like my buddy Scotland is like, I feel like you're in the Massachusetts golden age.
Yeah.
You know, he's like, it's got to change at some point.
Yeah.
But you guys are in the Massachusetts golden age. He has a feeling.
Yep.
And I was like,
Even
yeah, maybe. But
Laura down at Northeast, when I was just there, she's like, I've never seen so many bucks get killed. Like this year's like just you stand there checking in a buck, and there's like guy after guy after guy coming in.
It's just
like,
the food, man.
It's wild how many
But at the same
big deer
time,
have died this year.
it seems like this last podcast I did with my buddy Connor, we talked about in the beginning of it. He sent me a text a few days before that. He's like, some nice deer have been shot in Massachusetts this year, but it seems like there hasn't been a lot of giants. And I started thinking about it, and there haven't been a bunch of like absolutely slobs like in previous years.
Yep.
There's a lot of nice deer being shot.
Yep.
But it feels like for some reason the giants aren't as plentiful this year.
Mm-hmm.
The true blue like 170s and
Yeah.
I had an encounter last year, and I haven't seen it since.
He's a freak.
And then you also think like because of the new gun laws and stuff, a lot of out-of-staters didn't come this year,
right?
Because they're afraid. Even though I think it's still
questionable.
It's a moratorium. It's on hold for out of state.
Yeah.
That's actually confirmed. I'm not making that up.
Yeah, that's a whole nother rabbit hole.
We're not getting
into
into
then
the
usually with
Rick and
like
Morty
all
here.
the acorns too, an acorn year like this where it's just everywhere.
There's usually less harvest.
Usually less too. So you would think
Harder
that
to hunt, right? They're all dispersed, like eating in bed, pretty much, right?
Yep. No, they can be anywhere. It's just harder to figure out.
I literally have a buck on video. He's laying down. It's one of the second videos. I'm not sure if I sent you this one. He's laying down. He's literally, you see him like, he's probably there for like a good 17 minutes until eventually where you see his head get heavy. And he just rests his antlers down like this.
Yeah.
And at one point he gets up and he literally just goes and just eats the like 2 acorns that are like right in front of his
Picks
feet.
up an
He's not
acorn.
even up, dude. He's not even on his feet. He's literally just like imagine you're laying in bed,
Oh,
you see
yeah.
like a sandwich
We've
next
all
to you.
been there.
Oh,
Yeah. He looks like he's hungover or something.
yeah.
But that just goes to show me there's acorns everywhere. It's stupid.
My cousin always tells me we were at his sister's wedding, my other cousin, and me and my cousin is one of my best friends, and we're sharing a room. And he always brings back up. He goes, "I still remember the day after that wedding, looking over at you at 6 a.m, grabbing a sandwich off the like the sandwich that we had from the last night.
Yeah.
Like it was so delicious. But I grabbed it like in the morning and was just like that, like
Yep.
that buck just eating it, laying down.
Yep. Like eyes closed.
Yeah,
Slow
we've been
chew.
there.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Like-
It's been good. It's been a very, very productive season. Especially for you. Like I said, that's
You too,
bananas.
though. Talk about some of the deer you've shot. Like,
well, that was cool. I mean, that's what I do feel proud and happy about that. Like last year, my first year was 2 doe and a spike.
Yep.
So a 2-point last year. My second buck ever this year
11
was a
point.
4-point. So, and then the second buck I got this year was a 6-point.
Yeah.
Just going up,
So-
two,
Going up,
two
baby.
at a time.
So I'm
yeah.
thinking luck stands true.
Your next one's an 8.
Should be an 8, right? A little basket 8 maybe or something. But no, it was cool this year, man. The 4-point, we actually watched him breed a doe.
Yeah,
at
that was why. We should get
70.
into that.
That story was pretty damn cool.
Let's do it.
So that was the only other hunt that we've done this year
You were a
Archery
voyeur, dude. Come on.
that we were further apart that time. We had pins picked.
Oh yeah.
I went to go to my pin and I saw like a dude way out, so I ended up double back,
Oh, I forgot about
coming
that.
back way past where we started.
He was pissed. I could
Well,
tell
we're-
he was pissed.
and I
It was
all
getting like past
flustered.
gray light, and we
Yeah.
wanted to be up by then.
Oh,
and
of
he's
course.
still he walks. I'm like on my 3rd stick up, and I see him like walk past me. And he's like,
And I didn't want to screw him up. I'm like, what do you want me to do? Like,
he's huffing and puffing.
so I'm like, all right, composure, pick a tree. But so, anyways, we're
What
probably
time of year was this?
Early.
November 1.
Oh no, right.
That was
11-1.
November 1.
You're right.
So just a quick aside, like I used to think I have to be in the woods in the dark.
Mm-hmm.
I have to be set up
I love it.
in the dark.
Yep.
I love it too. And ideally you can do that.
Yep.
But when you have kids and you got to drop
Right.
them off at
Yeah,
school
yeah.
and stuff in the morning,
Buses
it's
and-
like I learned to be okay with it. Where it's like, no, you don't.
Hunt
And
when you can.
I started getting in at 9 o'clock, and I was seeing tons of mature buck activity even after getting in at 9, to where it doesn't bother me as much anymore. It's like I know. So
You're gonna be good.
I used to get super flustered and pissed if I wasn't in a tree in the dark.
Right.
But now it's like
I wouldn't go, like, if I couldn't get in there before dark, or if I had to leave before sunset, like, or last light, like, I wouldn't even go.
Yeah.
That was last year.
Yeah.
That was the mentality.
Year, yeah. And then I changed that. I was like, you know what? I'm just going to hunt, like, less.
Whatever time you can go.
Yeah. Hunt when I can. So anyways, back to this other spot. I ended up setting up. He's already set up. We're a couple 200 yards, 180 yards apart.
150, something like that, yeah.
See some doe in the morning. This is all day sit.
Dude. No, yeah. We saw a lot of deer in the morning.
He saw more than I did from where he was. I could hear him.
Mass or Rhode Island?
Rhode Island.
Yeah.
So the day goes by, but it gets pretty slow. And this is when we're texting about
it was painfully
what
slow.
color are your socks?
Midday. Oh yeah.
Should we eat snacks now?
Yeah.
So we did climb down, went to the truck, ate lunch, and then went back.
Yeah.
So that just stretch the legs kind of thing. But then, I don't know, 4 o'clock, I saw a doe hop a wall by herself. I was like, dang, is that a doe or a spike? It's weird that she's by herself when the deer numbers are this high. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, and she ended up freshening up a scrape, putting her scent on a licking branch. I was like, what's this little girl doing? And she was a young, smaller doe. I'm like,
yeah.
If she had come into range, because again, it was a meat hunt. She was gonna get an arrow.
Oh yeah, she's gonna get smoked.
But she was 60 yards out, so I was just watching her, texting him every step she took. She turned right, she turned left.
Yeah. Because I can't see anything from my vantage point. He's just giving me the play-by-play, and I'm just like, what's going on?
And then he's like, oh, I see a deer coming towards you. And at this point, she had turned towards me. I was like, yeah, that's the deer I can see.
We're thinking it's the same deer.
He's got his head down. It's a buck. He's got his head down, coming in quick. I'm like, well, she's not moving quick, and it's not a buck. So all right, is there another deer? So I look over, and this buck's got its head down, on a scent trail, beelines it to her.
Right.
I'm like, oh wow. So then he dogs her all around my tree, and I came to full draw on him. Couldn't stop him. I was like, all right, nope. And at that point, he was headed his direction. So I was like, all right, let's see what happens here. And
they hop a little stone wall, I think, or something. They come out to the clearing, the edge more.
Well, they stop in between us.
Yeah.
And I'm filming at this point, so I got this on film.
Right. I'm filming, he's filming.
She stops, lets him mount.
Finally got it on film.
Yeah, right.
So they're basically 75 yards between the both of us, perfectly middle.
So we're both watching them at this point. So he mounts her. They run around more towards him at this point, and I was like, oh, Justin's gonna get a shot. And
yeah, once they're done and they dog around a little more, she's playing the hard to get afterwards. Okay, you had your opportunity, right? Relax.
Enough.
But he's not gonna let her out of her sight, obviously. So
did he breed her? Or
he bred her. Yeah. But now she, So she, which is cool. I've never seen that before as a new hunter.
Send me that clip. I'll put it up after so people see it.
That's the thing. I have all this hours of footage. I don't know how to edit.
So she
ends up. It takes a long time to edit, but hey, you volunteered for me. I'll volunteer for you.
Oh, look at that!
I'll edit for you.
That's awesome.
It's fun to do too. I enjoy it.
Thank you. I'll have to student.
So she comes. I see them finally break out of that little bit of edge cover, and I'm a little too excited, and I rapidly reach for my bow. And I'm pretty sure she saw that movement.
Sloth mode, Justin. Sloth mode.
They from 70 yards away. They literally just look towards my tree and just staring at me. And I'm like, all right, slow it down, relax. I got some time here.
No, what she says Hunter, get him. Get him off of me. I'm going right to him.
So now what's funny about this area, dude? There's no real the contour is gentle sloping. There's no pinch point really. There's nothing to really dictate this deer's movement one way or another. She could go fucking anywhere, right? On this oak flat. So all of a sudden she literally just beelines towards me and I'm like, dude, what is this gonna happen right now? So I'm just patient. I'm recording, and then all of a sudden at this point they're probably 50 yards away and they go behind a double split oak tree. It's just enough time for me to go full draw, and then as soon as she's coming right at me. Once she hits, I yarded it. I ranged it at 19.8. Right at 20 yards, she turns broadside exactly. And he obviously is like 2 yards behind her. And I was like, I hit him with the old meh. And
Yeah, the fact that he stopped,
dude,
like,
3. I had to hit him like 3 times. The third time, she stopped because he wasn't going to unless she did. She stopped, thankfully. And it was just enough time because he was about to go behind a nice thick tree. And I would have had no shot on his vitals. And when I released, it just felt so good. There was nothing about it that seemed odd or off or sketchy. I was like, yep, that was money. I heard that pop sound, that good pocket. He mule kicked. He ran probably 60. I don't know. No, probably closer to 80, honestly.
yeah,
70 or 80 yards.
It wasn't hard to find him, though.
No, it wasn't hard to find him.
5 minutes.
But smoked him, hard shot.
Great shot.
Yeah.
Was that your first year this year?
That was my first for the year.
Yeah.
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 So going from the year before,
Yes.
where your equipment wasn't working right,
Right.
this was a perfect shot.
Right.
Did it have a really good blood trail too?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was, the blood trail was money. Everything about it just felt good. And then I just told myself, like, the whole time, I'm like, first off, I'm freaking out. I'm breathing I'm hyperventilating like
Yeah,
a
this is
girl.
why we do it. Like this 5
And
minutes right here.
I laughed because afterwards I was telling myself, I'm like, man, what a difference. Putting the time off season, shooting, forcing myself to uncomfortably shoot long range distance, thanks to this guy, putting the time in, getting my bow fixed and properly tuned, just gave me all that confidence, and actually getting pass-throughs. Like the year before, again, didn't want to get into all the details, but I ended up realizing my bow the previous year was only pulling like 42 pounds or something, 44 pounds. Yeah, exactly. Bananas. And once I retuned everything, got everything up to I was at 62 now this season.
But what did you think it was at? What were your
60.
I
He
thought I
always
was-
says
at
60.
60.
Yeah,
I thought I was
65.
at I thought I was 60.
Yeah.
That's what I was told by multiple shops, 2 different shops. So
Weird.
again, not going to get into it. I don't want to call anyone out or whatever, but like it was a very eye-opening learning moment for me. And again, thank God I brought it up to Pelletiers, and he was like, dude, this is wrong. And like, again, as a new guy, no ego going into this. I loved it because he was like, yeah, don't hold it this way. You're drawing you're torquing this, you're doing this, all these corrections, dude.
Yeah.
You were there for that.
Oh, yeah.
He was like, stop that. I was like, okay,
But
yeah,
that's
tell me what to do.
Going back to
I'm here to
like,
learn.
the beginning, like always willing to learn.
Yes.
Like, if we've been doing it 20 years, been doing it, like if
Yeah.
someone knows more than me,
Yeah.
I'm here to
Open
learn.
mind.
You have to have that mentality.
Open mind. And it helped a crap ton because the execution this year has been
And
great.
Justin has a wicked, like he knows his limits. He has like composure, self control. Like I'm like flinging arrows.
Oh, I pass. I tell him all the time. I'm like, oh yeah, I'm like, it's too far, or I didn't have a shot. There was branches in the way, and he's like, a lot of people, not just him, but people I've talked to have been like, oh yeah, you just got to send it. And I'm like, dude, I'm not sending nothing. What do you mean send it? Like,
Well,
what?
I think you learned that from your first year too. I think.
Yeah,
Right.
you were
Even
you were
that-
part
that-
of a lot. Yeah, you were
There's a happy
that
medium.
spike
though.
horn.
yeah, was not.
It wasn't broadside, right? I forget.
He was quartering to me. If I just waited, all I had to do was
Yeah.
wait.
Yeah.
Like 20 seconds more, he would have been totally broadside to me at like 20 yards.
Yep.
But just
Great
not-
hunt.
But you
So-
gotta make mistakes too, man. And
Yeah, absolutely.
I made a
learn
lot
from
that
them.
first season. So,
Yeah.
I
but-
don't even want to say how many deer I've wounded and just learned from.
it sucks.
I've used a dog twice in New Hampshire, which is an awesome experience, by the way. I wish Mash would change that too, but
But it was a good eye opening, like just a full circle moment of being like, this is where I was the previous year, the first year, to have a full pass through finally, heart shot, perfect execution. He died ethically. Everything felt good about it. Was like that was money. It was huge. Such
we
a
had
great
a
way to
place to
start.
be. Like, so we had to we didn't have any time to enjoy it.
No.
We're like, got it.
Where'd
Like,
you have to go?
to our truck, but it was
Yeah.
a mission to get there. That's
It's limited time.
yeah. It was.
say
We
that.
were against the clock,
Oh, okay.
so
Yeah.
we were like, literally, running with the deer in the sled. Luckily, it was
yeah.
on a 2-track. I was like,
Yeah, Mr. Marathon here.
Sounds like the Quabbin hunt.
yeah,
Yep.
You got to be checked out by I think 4 o'clock. And
yeah.
Yeah.
We were very similar to that,
Yeah.
to where like
Yep. We had limited
hard
time.
stop.
So it was
Type 2 kind of fun though, because like we'll remember that forever.
Yep. So that was awesome.
So
And
that
then-
was that hunt, right?
And then the second one also in Rhode Island. So I tagged out in Rhode Island this year, which is also a great achievement. Like
Yeah.
I felt awesome about that. You know,
You get to share that with your dad too.
I shared that with my dad. The recovery, that was awesome to have him there for that. That one was great. Not great. There was some ups and downs actually. The first shot,
Such as hunting.
I had an alert on my phone that I had a buck 6-point going in front of my camera, like 180 yards from me. He was coming up this oak ridge, so I already spun around in my saddle totally. I was already like,
This
looking-
is what I can't do with cameras. It's like,
yeah, I was already spun around 6 o'clock, like bow in hand, ready to go, and I knew what run he was going to take already. I already knew. I was like, I know exactly which run he's going to use just based on historical knowledge there, and he followed that exactly. And when I stopped him, he took that one extra step, and his vitals were directly behind a tree, and he just stood there like goofy, just staring at me. And I was like, and I'm holding, and I ranged them at 36 at that point, 36, 37. And I used my 40 pin on him. And when he took that that one extra step out with the nocturnal, I could tell it was high backstrap. I knew immediately. I just knew. But between feeling it and also just looking at the actual, the flicker, obviously the strobe effect, I could see it was high backstrap. He ran probably 25, 30 yards and stopped in a run, open lane. And he stopped there for like a good 15 seconds. And as soon as he stopped, I saw that he was in an opening and slowing down. I spun back around in my saddle, nocked another arrow, came to full draw, guessed he was at 40, used again, just used my 40 pin. And thank God I got that opportunity. I think you or someone told me one time, I probably don't remember, a long time ago, if you ever get an opportunity at a second shot on a deer,
If you have
send it.
If you have first blood.
Right.
If you already put blood in.
Right.
You
And
already
I
have
knew,
blood.
I knew I already hit him. And I was like, the only thing I do at this point is try to do this deer justice
Yeah.
and finish him off ethically.
Yep.
So I was able to get a second shot on him. And thank God I did. And thank God it worked out the way it did, because the second arrow was the one that killed him and went up through his back right hind quarter, all the way through his cavity, hit his heart. And he ran.
no 40-pound does doing that.
No,
No.
right. He ran 40 yards from there, 45, 50 yards, and crashed. I backed out because I didn't have confidence on the recording. I couldn't tell if the second arrow actually hit him.
Which is always the right
You
move.
were filming too?
Yeah. And I was able to.
Do you have a camera, or you film with your phone?
That one I filmed on my hat. I have a little Insta 360.
Which is awesome, by the way. Those little things. I grabbed one too. It's
They're
like,
pretty nice.
I don't have
For
one of
wide
those.
angle, they're
Yeah.
great. Not good for like the Tacticam stabilizer mount would have been better for like actual seeing actual shot placement. This is more just like the
Yeah.
full scene,
Yeah.
right? The full panoramic kind of view,
third,
which is great.
second angle kind of thing.
That's
yeah,
cool.
it's cool though. But anyways, yeah, so that worked out. Not much of recovery, super easy kind of track job from there. But that was the 6-point. That was my largest of my personal best so far. So,
Awesome, dude.
Yeah.
it worked out. But again, I wouldn't have felt comfortable if I wasn't putting in those cycles and those reps off season shooting.
And shooting does too. Like you get all kinds of confidence just getting does.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was that was my first deer this year. Was the doe, the antlerless that I filled down in Rhode Island.
Where was that?
That was early season.
Oh yeah, don't say where.
Rhode Island.
When?
No, I just said Rhode Island.
Yeah. No, I said where. I'm trying to like.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, but
My Rhode Island.
yeah. So then I got.
Code words.
I got a doe. I guess the only one I would really want to go into. Well, I guess both
Yeah.
other bucks I would quickly talk. I don't need to go into detail, but the one is pretty cool. Like, or they both are. So my biggest one to date was an early morning hunt before gray light, super cold, first cold front, like textbook type of hunt. Put the work in last year. Learned they were using this pinch point funnel type of area, so I hung up the only hang on I hunt from, hung it in this big old pine tree, screw ins, the whole nine. Like I'm 99% saddle hunter, but this one hang on, I was like, this is what I got to use here. This is the tool for this job. Climbed that tree, and like absolutely read the script. Like came in on the run I was hoping he would come in on. It was like 12 minutes after legal, before true sunrise, like 18 yards. I hear him come in, confirmed that He was the deer I was hoping. Came to full draw. My only mistake was I didn't stop him. He was walking super slow, and I always aim a heart, like right above the elbow type deal, and that's where I aimed, but it was a little bit higher. He had taken a half step, and so I got him a little bit back, but I mean, I knew he was done, but just gave him some time, went back in.
You kill me with this.
That was
With the backing out.
Yeah.
He calls me like I'm trying to
so
be the voice
bad.
of reason. He's calling me. He's Marco. It's all this stuff. He's like, well, this has happened. He's giving me all the play-by-play, and I'm like, just
I
leave.
will convince myself to just go get him. Like, oh, I can just go get
I'm
him.
like, just get out. And you know, from my first year, with all the tribulations I had, I'm Mr. Cautious with everything now. If I'm not 100% where I know with full confidence I drilled it, I'm like, just leave.
Yeah,
There's no harm in that. Just wait. Just
waited
back
like
out.
I think 4 hours after you
Right.
shot that spike.
Yeah, we waited.
I
a
don't
while.
remember, but it was a long time before we went to look for him, and he still wasn't dead.
Right.
Right.
So I went in, and like, so that's the other thing too. Like, I told the homeowner, like, because she's awesome. Like, our relationship's fantastic, like, both of them. So like, gave her play-by-play, and she's like, so I ended up coming back after a couple hours. Like I said, I was gonna give it to like 12. I came back at 10. He's like, dude, you're crazy. Just go back at 12. I'll be there to help you, yada, yada. So I go back and I meet the homeowner in the driveway, and I tell her what's going on and like expecting to drag this deer out. He's still alive. I come back out to the truck with nothing. She's like, where is he? She's like, oh, he's still alive. What do you mean still alive? You're going to let him suffer? You got to go put an arrow. Like, they don't get it. You know what I mean? To like, and like, I couldn't get close enough. It was so thick. Like, I didn't want to bump him. It's a smaller property. So luckily went back 2 hours later, and he was done right where I last saw him.
But he was killing me. I'm watching his, like, you send me these voice messages and stuff and these videos, and you're like, we agreed, like, I think we said like
Right.
12:31.
Yeah, we Marco.
And then it
Dude,
magically-
anybody- we're trying to get Pat to Marco. Marco's awesome.
I used to. Kevin Polis, Marco Polos all the time. I was on it for a little bit when he first introduced it.
Way easier than texting.
4 or 5 years ago.
I live in my truck. It's just
Yeah.
driving.
It's basically
and
the
talking.
same as Snapchat, isn't it? Kind of.
Yeah, without. I don't know what Snapchat is, so yeah, sure.
No, it's a little different.
But dude, the best part about this, not the best part, but this deer was standing in front of my camera, which was on video mode when I shot him. So I got my
That's cool.
trail camera, took
Yeah.
the video
Yeah.
of him getting shot, which was pretty awesome.
But like 12:31, I'm telling you, I'm like, I'll meet you there. I'll help you out. I'll finish my work call. I'll be there. Just wait like 12:30. He's like, yeah,
He was dropping his deer off
right,
or picking it up
something like that.
from Doug.
But then Marco,
While
you're
on
like,
a work call.
yeah, 12 o'clock.
Yeah.
And then like the next bit, Marco, you're like, yeah. So I'm gonna give him till like 11. Yeah, like you just kept going backwards in
Oh,
time, and
that-
I'm like, dude, just
that
wait.
always happens to me.
Just wait, bro.
Dude, I can't eat, can't sleep, can't think. I'm like, let's go. I got like.
I forget
but-
who said it to me. Maybe it was Tyler Ford. Someone said it to me one time. They were like, if they're dead now, they'll still be dead 5 hours from now,
Yeah,
right? Like,
that's
it's
great.
where are they gonna go?
Yeah.
They're dead.
But like up until then, I've had like pretty bad experiences, like wounding deer that like heartbreak and like. So, anyways,
But it's very rare that you're going to get back up on them and find them alive and be able to get another shot too, though.
right,
It's hard to do that.
especially yeah,
They're
he
so
had all the
hyper-alert at that
advantages,
point.
like the way he bedded and stuff. So the cool part I didn't talk about was like, I was pretty sure he went down into the stick stuff and bedded. Wasn't sure. I sat in the stand for another hour and a half, hour after the shot. I saw a spike come in, exact run that he did, stopped at impact, sniffed, stopped at went right to the tree that he stopped at, sniffed, and then right to where I thought he bedded, and alerted,
Yeah.
circled his bed, and every time he kept like acting weird. I was like, dude, that young deer is telling me that other deer's down there.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I was
Spooked.
like, backed out, grabbed my arrow, and of course the arrow told me, liver. Like reading the arrow is like the most important thing. So then I tiptoed out of there. Luckily, I didn't have to go past him or whatever. But
Yeah, you want to give them 4 to 6 hours on a liver shot.
Yep.
so I waited 4. It wasn't enough. 6 did it.
That deer, that little one I shot this year, eating lunch. I didn't realize he was with another deer. There's another buck with him
Mm-hmm.
until after I shot him, and then I saw the other buck take off. he was bigger buck than him too, but still they were same age class. And he was like, "What the?" Because I watched this deer drop in front of me. I mean, he didn't go very far, and I was just watching that buck, that second one, and he went right up to him, ears pinned back, kind of doing one of these, walking up.
I love it.
Like that.
Yeah.
And then he went.
Yeah.
And took off.
You're
Once he
not
saw him
breathing.
dead, he was like,
Yeah.
"Oh shit!" He just took off.
Danger.
Yep. He knew.
But
So
how awesome is it that it must be so rewarding because you did all your scouting enough to put a you don't have hang on stands and locations, so this had to be a place where you were like, this is
Yeah.
kill spot. This run is going to be the money spot. I'm going to hang on there. I'm going to go in and hunt that one day, and then everything worked out exactly how you thought. That's got to be so rewarding and just reassure that what you're doing,
The
you're
affirmation
like,
that
hey,
comes from
I'm
it
a good
is-
hunter now.
yeah.
You know, once you get a spot like that and then it happens.
And then like that, and then on top of like, all right, wait for this wind, wait for this cold front. Like, don't overhunt this spot.
Right.
Sit
You
it
were-
when
you
it's
were,
ready.
You were very methodical about
Like,
it.
I would not go into that spot until early November. Like that whole property wasn't getting hunted until this time. Like, because I learned it last year and I applied that this year and it paid off.
Yep. You made the game plan and it worked, and that's awesome. And It's going to give you so much more confidence.
Yeah, we hung that hang on together. I'm pretty sure.
Right,
Yeah, I think we were
absolutely.
together, and you were showing me. You were like walking me through. It was more of like, again, affirmation. Like he was just kind of speak. I didn't have to say anything to him. I didn't have to like give him any
But
input.
that's the fun part.
It was
about
just like a
trusting
sounding
someone
board.
with everything that you do. It's like I know he's not gonna like. I'm not gonna show up and see him in the hang on. Like,
No.
Yeah.
if you ask me, sure. But like, that friendship is there now to where like
It was a sounding board purely. It was just
Yeah,
him being
right.
like, let me just talk about what I'm thinking about this. And I was just like, yep, that makes sense, or no, or this or that. But for the most part, he was spot on, and it obviously worked out. So
so. Yeah, there was that one, and then my next one, which was just pure fun, like another preset. This is zone 5. So I'm only buck only over there,
Oh,
and at this
yeah.
point of the year, like I'm gravy train, like two doe, my two best bucks. Like, what do I have? Like? I'm just hunting to have, but so I'm in the tree.
You're just getting your fix.
I was on my way there. I was like, I don't really feel like I'm gonna turn around. No, I'm gonna go hunt. So I hunt. It's a preset that like I had an encounter with last year. I actually shot a deer that I didn't find over there last year, the same tree. Another property, he walked with me, just like kind of picking it apart together. And so like, the night's almost done. Didn't see any deer. I turn out and I look into this big clearing. Well, 200 yards away, I see a deer cutting through, going to another patch of woods behind me, and I snort wheezed at him. Or no, I grunted. He stopped.
He heard it.
He heard it, because it was like
Must have
dead
been
quiet.
dead quiet. Yeah.
It was like the last 30 minutes. It was just sunset, so I had 30 more minutes of legal. Grunted, stopped. He's looking my way, not moving. Grunted one more, not moving. I didn't want to overdo it, so I'm like, snort wheezed a couple times. And like at that point, like he turned my direction. I'm like, all right, I got his attention. Like, you never know about snort wheezing. Like, that's like, to me, it's like a Midwest thing. It's like that where they're big and tough, whatever. So like, I was like, all right, what do I do now? I lightly tickled so I have the pack rack. I lightly rattled. And as soon as I did that, I grunted again. So now he's like, all right, they're not. In my head, this is the story I was trying to write was like, I'm not snort wheezing at you. There's 2 deer over here doing their own thing. And that his curiosity peaked, and he just came in
Perfect.
on a string.
Perfect.
And like, so what the important part was like, I'm in Mountain Laurel on the edge of a clearing. So he's like, I can't see
he
what's
can't
going
see,
on.
yeah.
So in his mind,
even more
there's
curious.
2 deer in the thick
Yeah.
going at it over a doe. Like, and that's what he was looking for, was that time of year. So he came in on a string, just enough time. I probably had like 6 minutes left. And it was a 1:45 shot, but he was like in the clearing. I was in the wood line, but he was in the clearing to where it was still like I came to full draw. First deer I've ever shot with my sight light on. So I turned my sight light on, came to full draw. I found him in my sight picture, like felt comfortable. I had ranged where he was standing before, like a bunch of times, because I've sat that spot multiple times. Settled, shot breaks. He wheels just 90 miles an hour. My buddy Dennis, who's like my hunting mentor, like him and I have like crap luck finding deer that shoot. Because like up until now, it's like buck fever, blackout, just so
Just go.
yeah. So we're looking. Blood's great to start, and then like disappears because he's running downhill 90 miles an hour through like swamp grass. So I'm like, all right, I think I heard him crouch over here. Dennis is looking over here. I'm like, just like completely gave up on looking for blood. I'm grid searching at this point with the spotlight. And I let out a screech, and Dennis is like, you found him? And sure enough, he was piled up down there. I was
That's
like,
so awesome, man.
finding a deer that's piled up, like
Yeah.
the highs and lows, and then you find coming up on him is like no better relief.
Dude, the snort wheeze is such an underutilized thing, and I feel like should be utilized a lot more.
It's crazy though, because like
Bless you.
I feel like it's something you have to be able to read, like see
A
the
story.
deer that you're snort wheezing at
Yeah.
to read their
I
body
wouldn't
language.
blindly snort wheeze.
Same with
I
like
use it as a last ditch effort if they're not responding to a grunt, like you said. But usually,
it was the kitchen sink at this dude. I'm like, all right, how can I paint this picture to like get him curious?
but what you just said makes a lot of sense. Like because usually, I'll grunt. If they can't hear it or it's not doing anything, then I'll tickle some antlers together. And if that doesn't get them to come in, then I've snort wheeze. But it makes more sense to snort wheeze after the grunt, because when I've seen deer from my stand snort wheeze, I've seen it twice now. And they're always around another buck when they do it. There's another buck coming, and there's a doe. They're not doing it if there's no doe
It's
around.
like the
There's always a
preamp to
doe,
like a little
there's a
scrap.
buck, and then they see another one coming, and they'll snort wheeze to be like, get the hell out of here
Right.
first.
If you really want to do
It's
this,
a challenge.
Yeah, but then sometimes it's I mean, not sometimes, both of the times, the deer will then start.
all bristly.
Yeah.
Yep.
I haven't seen an all-out fight, but they always put their antlers together after the two times I've seen it. They put their antlers together.
And that's like, I didn't rattle. Like, I didn't like,
Yeah,
and that was
full-on
something
fight.
I just was listening to a podcast and like, how hard do you rattle? I was like, maybe the element or something, but like, I barely, so loud enough that you can hear them, but like, it's the speed of the frequency too. Like, I'm like, tack, tack, tack. Like, it was, I don't know. I'm not any expert by no means, but it came together perfect.
worked out,
That
yeah.
was
Yeah,
pretty
you just
solid.
gotta pretend. You gotta pretend you're the buck in the scenario that you're painting for yourself. That's all you gotta do.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was awesome. And then, yeah, so
when you snort wheeze, you just doing it with your mouth, or you?
yeah,
Yeah.
you just
Yeah, you use your mouth, right?
yeah,
I use my nose,
yeah.
I
He
ha-
actually does a pretty good one, but like,
Your nose?
like I'm
Let me-
like
let
I'm
me see.
snot
Let
rocketing
me
it.
hear.
I do a little.
put the mic away. Tom Brady's.
It's pretty good.
Snot rockets.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Sorry about that.
Take care of that later.
it's pretty good. Yeah,
Yeah, it's not too bad.
I've
It
never
works.
done it with my nose is always fully stuffed.
yeah.
Well, that's also it's kind of like a 2-for-1 because you're out there and your nose is running, and I'm just like, you know what, I got a couple, got to clear this out anyways, you know. So
I think the drawn out part at the end, I get more lung capacity to like
Yeah.
hold it like.
mm,
I
But
have that extinguisher call, which has like a thing. I've never used it,
same.
yeah,
but it's got that. Have you used it?
No.
I don't think you really need to.
But honestly, I feel like at least where I hunt, you're gonna scare a deer more than you're gonna call them in.
yeah,
I feel like that's a very short window that like they're
respond to it.
they're tough enough to want to like,
But for me, it's okay to scare the deer
because you're
I'm
after one caliber deer.
Well, I'm only using it if it's a shooter that I
Right.
see
Mm-hmm.
and he's walking away from
Yeah.
me. He's not gonna come into my shooting lane, so it doesn't matter. So for me, that deer wasn't gonna. Yeah, there's a chance he does a giant loop or something and comes back later. But
Yeah.
I want to try to get him while he's 80 yards away and he's going that way.
And that's
Mhm.
what I
need
said to
I need
myself.
to try to turn him back in. So
It was my second mass buck tag, and like I said, I was hunting. I had a great encounter with like a really dang good deer last year. I was like, all right, I really want to hold the second one to hopefully see this thing again this year. But if I can call this thing in, it's because he's a pretty dang good deer. So when he came in, I just saw like swooping beans. He's not a huge deer. Beautiful 9-point, but like you said earlier, when you were eating your lunch, like it was a smaller deer. Like this deer read the script, got me going. I was like, that's it.
Yeah.
That's it.
That's
And
all
I'm
you
not a
need.
big deer, like a big buck killer or whatever. Like not air quoting that too much, but these deer are just the ones that presented opportunities. And yeah, it's all. It's been a great year.
Yeah, I just like killing deer in different ways.
Yeah.
It's just like that's each deer has a unique story. If they all were the same way,
Yep.
you know, it's not as cool. I don't think. I like checking that box there. I was eating lunch, and like that small 8-pointer up there, I shot that one when my dad and my uncle came down from Vermont to hunt with me, and they're, you know, older. My dad's almost 80, and my uncle's 70.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and they came down to hunt with me, and they were in the same patch of woods that day.
Yep.
And that was early season. Otherwise, if they weren't in there, I probably would have passed that deer. But they were in there,
Yeah.
and I wanted to share that experience.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. I have like goals now to like, all right, maybe I'm gonna mess with the traditional archery, and maybe I can get one from the ground with the compound, because I've never shot a deer from the ground.
Yeah, that's fun.
Like
trad doe
the
would be
bow,
dope.
With the bow, I've shot one muzzleloader from the ground, but like, yeah, trad doe, real close,
Like
from
12
the
yards.
ground. Like,
You take a buck too, though.
Who's that dude that we met in Harrisburg, the old timer that like every buck
yeah.
he's
Barry
ever killed?
Wenzel.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Wenzel.
He's
I got his book.
he might be coming to hunt stock, by the way.
That guy was cool.
He's really cool,
Yeah.
and he is just a legend. He is badass.
There's a lot to share.
He's
Every
going through
deer's
some
like
health stuff, but
150
he's like,
inch. He loves going to shows too.
he does. He's like, pencil me in, but I'm going through some health things. He's got a bypass surgery. It might be today. I was speaking
Oh,
to
boy.
him last week.
He'll play
Yeah.
ball.
He's got a big heart surgery, but he's a possibility to be a hunt stock.
Yeah,
And
that'd be
Eberhardt's
pretty cool.
coming to hunt stock for sure now too. John Eberhard. I don't know if you guys know him, but
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
he's a
tell him to leave
legend.
his scent lock.
Yeah.
We're
Yeah.
in Michigan.
Oh yeah.
Deer can't smell John.
So just trying to get a couple of
He's gonna
like,
walk around with scent
you
lock
guys.
all the whole time.
Sure. and some totes.
He
Yeah.
kills him
Yeah.
with that.
But he
Phenomenal hunter.
every time I talk to him on the phone, it's a long call. He likes to talk.
Which one?
John.
Eberhard.
Yeah.
He's a really nice guy, and he loves
First
to
hunting
talk
book
hunting.
I've ever read. Precision bow hunting.
Yep.
Dennis gave it to me. He's like, you got to read
I've
this.
never read it. Yeah,
It's-
I should
love
read it.
I love reading books about hunting. That's the other thing. I read books in the beginning, and then Audible, listened to a bunch of books, like content. Like I couldn't, and I'm still that way. Like I watch hunting videos, and my wife's like, "This is all you think to watch,
Mhm.
YouTube hunt videos."
That's it.
Well, the thing he was telling me, and this will be the last part of the podcast here, it ties into it. And yeah, I've heard it from a million other people, and I do it now too. But he goes, it's the most crucial time to go scouting is January through April.
Yeah.
Mhm.
In the spring, leaves are still off. The sign looks the same as it did in the rut.
Yep.
You get so much more intel. He goes, I don't even go in the woods. It's pointless to be in there in the summertime. And because you haven't done much shed hunting or haven't found sheds like that, I feel like you're going to be in that mode a little bit. You guys are going to we should all shed hunt together
Yeah, that'd be
a
great.
couple times.
Yep.
And but that's what I'm looking for. Doing one of my goals is to find a moose antler in Massachusetts. So I want to go to moose woods,
Mm-hmm.
but there's also big bucks in those woods.
Right.
Like,
Big woods.
I would rather find a giant whitetail shed than a moose shed for sure. I just
Mhm.
want to find a moose shed.
Yeah.
But yeah, he kept talking about that. It's like it's just you have to be in the woods January to March
Yep.
Right.
or April, whatever.
Yep.
Before it starts getting green.
I
Yeah.
put on a lot of miles in the off season this past year for sure. Probably.
So I'll write a
100 and
list, a
something.
to-do list, come usually this time of year, like it's already started, and like move this presets here, like so like I'll write a big list, and like it has to be done. Everything's got to be done like Memorial Day, by Memorial Day. And then I try to stay out of the woods. Or that's when I'll go into like random new pieces. Cuz like I don't like it's hard to just stay out of the woods.
I'm just
but-
a psycho with my backpack with like 14 cameras running around, just
Right.
like smothering areas. Like, what does it look like?
Well, so that's something too. Like the last couple weeks before I started getting back into this place I call the Vortex, where I saw those 44 deer. Like I was in the mode where I was like, all right, I'm done hunting all these places that I've been hunting the whole season.
Yeah.
And I took a couple of excursions farther away to bigger woods and still hunted. and brought cameras with me each of those times, knowing that, yeah, the rut's passed, but I'm going to put some cameras in here to soak.
Yeah.
And it'll be on my places to go for a shed hunt for a day.
Yep.
Right.
And I'll shed hunt it in February, and the camera will have been there for 3 months. And it's kind of, I want to do that more next year, where you start to take some of your cameras that might be deployed in the places you've hunted the whole season. You already know all the bucks that are there. They don't need to be there anymore. You've done all your reconnaissance. You know what's there. And, you know, maybe you don't want to hunt there anymore, like the big bucks killed or something. Just take those cameras out, go on an excursion somewhere. Change your whole mindset. You can still hunt. Like, it's fun. You go on a mission. It's like, I got 3 cameras in the pack, and I'm going to still hunt slow. And I'm going to, when I see a nice scrape or a good sign, I'll put it there, and then I'll go back 2 or 3 months later, and it'll give me an excuse to go there to shed hunt. I have to go check those cameras too. And that's all helps you just like expand your territory.
Right.
I only did it to 2 places, but I think, you know, next year I'd like to do that more. You know, 5 or 6 of those places later season.
That was like a lot of what we were talking about early seasons. Like, what do we got to lose right now? Let's like adventure hunt. Like, let's make a day.
We did that a
like,
lot this year.
We'll just wing it. Let's go in blind. Let's pick a spot. Like, throw some cameras out. Learn it for next year. And like, I mean, it produced. It's fun. And it's like there's no pressure. So no expectations, no pressure. You see deer, you don't see deer. Like crossing pieces off.
Yeah, I told you. That's one of the things that I changed this year too. It was an investment, but I told you about it. The whole 12-volt battery thing with my cameras. I spent several $100s, almost $1,000 last year on AA batteries, and I was done with that because I also run video. So it's just like you just chew up batteries so fast. So just transitioning to the 12 volts.
It sounds like you're not even using cell cams.
Has been
You're
money.
using traditional.
I use cell cams too. I have 20 cell cameras
Those
scattered.
Moultries.
Oh, the Moultries, right?
But I have like 20 non-cell, and I love the non-cell. I just love it because
you don't get that instant gratification, like.
Exactly, and it's more like opening up just a whole bunch of Christmas presents when you when you go to that tree. You're like, I can't wait to see what's on this car.
I love the Moultrie cams though. I didn't have any until this year, and then
Joe Amos is I think he's still trying to sway me to the dark side, as I call it. He's like, I was like, I'm a wise guy. He's like, not for long. No, you won't be. He's like, come talk to me.
I have Stealth Cam and Moultrie, and the Moultries are definitely a better camera.
They've been great. They've been great this whole season so far. I'm loving them.
Jeez.
He's got pictures right now, videos right now.
Yeah, I had one
goalpost
during the podcast.
Yeah, right.
But yeah, man, I'm looking forward to. Let's definitely get some shed hunts together.
For sure.
Shed hunts.
Like I was telling you, a town that I want to go check out. We should all go to that together because I've got places already picked out.
Shed hunts.
And I want
shows.
Shows, and I want you to do the thing. I'm going to talk to you about Rhode Island.
Yeah, we got to get all the volunteers together.
Yep.
And do a nice get together.
If anybody's got any cool ideas of what they want to see at Huntstock, drop them in is there a link or comments, or how does this work?
Yeah, just DM me, DM Randy or Justin. Like, these guys are all part of the team.
I want you to come down though, Rhode Island next year.
Yeah, I do want to do
this year.
Island.
Well, let's turn the mics off and talk about this year, January.
Yeah.
Should we get some Brazilian food?
Yeah,
I'm down.
Let's talk about it.
Some steak.
Yep,
all
I'm ready to eat.
So awesome. you can edit this part out. I told my buddy I would give a little tidbit into my testimony about how I was a jackass, and then.
Do you want me to edit it out?
No, you don't have to. It's up to you.
No.
But real quick.
I didn't know if you wanted to talk about your jackassery.
So, I will real quick, just because it's important, I think.
For other people.
Yeah. Like, I struggled with addiction for a lot of years. I'm 8 years clean sober. And it was then that I started going to church and became born again, surrendered my will and my life to God. And through that, I have become like a completely... When I talk about the dude I was, I can't relate to that person at all. So like God's given me a new beginning. And if you're struggling with drugs and alcohol, there is a way. And it's through God. Like, so you can message me there if you're struggling with drinking or drugs or anything like that. Like, hit me up. We can chat. But it's a real thing.
Proud of you.
Thank you, bro.
100%.
Yeah,
And that's
like
the other thing.
I only know this you. I didn't know you before, and like I just would never have been able to guess that you went through stuff like that. And wasn't just that you got in trouble with the law a little bit too and stuff.
I was
And
complete degenerate for a long time.
yeah,
Yeah.
but that's another great thing. It's very similar again to Spartan Race. Like if Pat Burns tells me stories too when he was a kid. Like he's kind of the same thing except for Pat. Pat never did drugs or alcohol, but he was just like caught up in the wrong groups of people a lot when he was younger.
Yep.
Has got crazy stories, and we've heard those stories.
Yep.
And you know, I love it when you two are talking about, you know, your stories from your past lives, because they're funny in hindsight. You know, it's just like because you know that you turned out right.
Yeah, it's not going anywhere. Like, so it's like you got to make light of it.
Yeah.
But and that's why I love you guys. It's like being sober can be pretty awkward, but it's like, but
Dude,
you guys have never made it uncomfortable, and you've supported it. So
I've been so.
Dude, first year at Huntstock, I don't know how many times you offered
How
to buy me
many
a drink.
times, dude? I offered to buy Randy a
Yeah, 'cause
drink.
you just forget.
You just forget.
It just got to the point you just return with a Red Bull. I'm like, dude, this is like the sixth one, bro.
Yeah, I felt so bad at first because I was like, I don't know, like
It's awesome though.
when
I
people
love
tell
it.
you like, oh, I'm sober, but it's okay, I'm fine. You don't have to like walk on eggshells, but you still like walk on eggshells because you generally
doesn't
don't.
bother me at
Now
all.
I understand, like he's strong-willed, he's good, he
It's just
gets it, but
you guys. Some people can, I can't. Like it's like no different than any other allergy. Like some people can, I can't.
But it's funny since meeting him, I feel like there's plenty of other people, even in our circle, you know, some of them, and like other folks that have like either recently come out sober or like have talked about it openly. It's actually pretty amazing. I don't know.
Yeah.
I think it's interesting
My
how
buddy
like,
Albarini,
yep,
he's on a sober train right now.
yeah, it's
Yep.
awesome. It's so good. Like
Yeah,
there's
it's-
like a lot of people that I've met since meeting Randy. I don't know if it's like a weird serendipitous timing, like coincidental thing, but I feel like ever since we met, a bunch of people I know, people in family, personal stuff like that have going through struggles and stuff. But it just kind of seems all like since we met, and it's just like wow, it's I don't know, just interesting. But
Yeah.
it's cool that you're able to channel that. I mean, I have my own for sure issues, but
To do all of it, not that I did anything, it's all God, but to live that and just keep it to myself, I feel like I'd be like doing disservice to people, like because people do struggle, you know what I mean? And it's like
they don't talk about it, or
I wouldn't. Nothing I do now, I could do better drinking or.
Of course not.
So
Yeah.
it's like
At the end of the day, it is a poison. I like how it feels to have one or two drinks, you know.
and like, dude, if
But
that's your thing, that's your thing. But for me,
Yeah.
it doesn't work.
Yeah.
right, you know your limits.
But like, I'm that guy that like, so like, my buddy would come to a poker night and like bring 6-pack, and then 2.5 beers through, switch over to coffee. I'm like, dude, what are you doing? Like, I could never drink beer. I was drinking, like, we don't have to go down the rabbit hole, but like, there's different people. I'm that guy that on or off.
Yeah.
Which we've discussed. I
Yeah.
mean, we know it's like that's the like hunting.
Yeah.
It's 0 to 100. You're all in.
I'm doing a 5K on the treadmill, marathon. 16 weeks later, it's
Right.
like
Yeah.
2 beers, 10 beers.
yeah,
Right.
Yeah.
100 proof vodka somewhere. Where? 9 days later, well, how did I get here?
Right. I'm in Vegas.
No.
I went through a little phase where I was smoking cigarettes, college, but not a lot. Like I might buy a pack and it would last me a month.
Yeah.
Right.
Like social maybe.
But then I went through, I just like in hunting and everything else, I like to change things up and prove that I can do something this way, and then I want to prove that I can do it that way and that way, or try little things. And I used to rap back in the day. And then
Yeah.
we heard.
And then I got bored from that, and I was like, well, I want to try battle rapping. I want to battle rap somebody, right? And so I did that, did a couple battle raps. My buddy was in the battle rap community, and it was
Remember
my
this?
yeah.
In,
It was
the
my-
Airbnb nights.
my first battle rap, dude. My first battle rap that day, I think I smoked like 2 packs of cigarettes. Normally, I'd only ever smoked like 1 or 2 cigarettes a day.
Sounded like Mona from that hole in
But
the
that
wall.
day I was like so nervous, and I was just chain smoking. Plus, in that community, like that's
Yeah.
the thing. After battle rap's
yeah.
over, everybody goes outside and they're smoking cigarettes together, talking about the rap. So I was caught up in all of that, and I smoked so many cigarettes. And the next day, like I was hurting,
Oh yeah.
and I coughed up some blood in the sink, and I was like, oh. Did I just get lung cancer from like
4
one night
packs,
of
yeah.
some, you know,
Right.
like overdoing it? So
Yeah.
I get like hypochondriac when something like that happens. I go to the emergency room,
Yeah.
do every test that you possibly can,
WebMD.
rule it out.
Right.
You know, I think I have lung cancer,
Right.
and they're like,
You got a sore
change
throat,
your
bro.
habits. I'm like, I smoked 2 packs last night. Normally, I only smoke 2 cigarettes in a day. You know, max. And they're like, well, it's probably that, and it ended up just being that. Obviously, I don't have lung cancer.
Right.
But then I quit smoking from that day.
Yeah.
I haven't touched a cigarette since.
Yeah.
There you go.
Sometimes you just need like a wake up call. It's
Right.
like, no, that was too close to, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah. I got to the bottom end of my rope, and someone like, it was my wife. It was, we were gonna either get divorced or like she was done. I put her through hell, and she was like, so I was like, all right, God, if you're real, I need your help, because I was not helping myself, and everything changed.
How were you able to quit? Was it literally going to church, or like it was like,
So like,
did you cold turkey stop? Did you go to AA meetings? Or
yeah, so like, addiction and alcoholism has been in my family my whole life. My dad died from it. My brother struggles with it. It's a family thing in my family. So, like, I've been in and out of like programs and juvie like since I was 14, 13. So like I knew all about sobriety, but this last time it was all God. Like I surrendered my will to God, started going to church. I had all the history and knowledge of 12-step programs, and I still like hold on to that, but like I don't do meetings or anything like that anymore. Like it's like you said earlier, like you're influenced by who you surround yourself with. And same thing with hunting. Like anybody you surround yourself with is helping you grow, or they're not.
Mm-hmm.
Like so I surround myself with positive people. Mostly people from church. Like my network is very church based. Like my church family's huge. Or it's hunting. It's like I'm work, family. Like it's like I have a very short, small group of people. But yeah, it's just you can't hang around with people, places.
I was just talking to my wife about this last night when we went to that concert. Because I'm thinking about I love writing. I've always been a writer before anything. Like writing is something I like to do. And just thinking about how, you know, eventually I'd like to write a book, and I don't know what it would be about or even what it would be. But if it was about hunting and like shortening your learning curve or something, getting good at hunting quickly, or how to become a good hunter quickly, after interviewing hundreds of people on this podcast and surrounding myself with better hunters.
Yep.
The number one thing, the first chapter would just be finding a group, surround yourself with 10 hunters who are just way better than you are at hunting.
Yep.
That's the number one thing.
Yep.
Because, you know, my brother, people in my family, they've gotten into wrong groups of people.
Right.
And that, the old adage that like you're literally a sum of your 10 best friends. That's who
Exactly.
you are.
Mm-hmm.
If you hang out with 10 people who are all dipshits, you're a dipshit, dude.
Yeah.
Right.
If you hang out with 2 dipshits and you got 8, you know, career oriented, driven people that are good people, all right, you're trending.
And it
that
ebbs
way.
and flows. Like my pastor says, like you are the 5 people you hang out with. The closest, your closest 5 friends are who you
That literally
like,
is
exactly
you.
what you're saying.
Yeah.
Yep, absolutely. Can't agree more.
So, all right, let's go get some steak.
I'm down. I'm hungry.
Let's do
This
it.
place,
Let's do it.
it's the same Brazilian place, just different location, right?
Yeah.
We got.
I
this
brought him to the
place.
Shrewsbury one.
Yeah.
So
Yep.
good.
Yeah.
I'm
It's
looking
good.
forward
It's
to it.
open till 11.
Beautiful.
Good times
I'm
though.
probably going to put mostly steak on the plate tonight. You know,
Yep.
get a few little sides, but I saved up. I didn't eat anything today,
Same.
knowing that we're.
He hit me up. He was like, "I'm not gonna eat all day."
I've been eating like a king all weekend. My mom had my kids, so my wife and I have been out like cheesecake twice. Like, so I had to fast today anyhow.
Yeah.
But Good times, dudes.
All right. Thanks for coming, boys.
Yeah, man. Appreciate you.
Yep.